Philips Norelco One Blade presents Shave All Things. Your style made simple with Philips Norelco One Blade 360.
Trim, edge, shave.
Trim, edge, and shave with Philips Norelco One Blade. One tool for all you need.
Philips Norelco One Blade presents Shave All Things. Your style made simple with Philips Norelco One Blade 360.
Trim, edge, shave.
Trim, edge, and shave with Philips Norelco One Blade. One tool for all you need.
Philips Norelco One Blade presents Shave All Things. Your style made simple with Philips Norelco One Blade 360.
Trim, edge, shave.
Trim, edge, and shave with Philips Norelco One Blade. One tool for all you need.
Hello, happy Tuesday. We got a day of VALORANT Challengers Promotion Relegation. I'm your host with my lovely analyst, Marks. Marks, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm honestly really excited to kind of get into the matchups today because, well, I mean, hey, everybody here, I'm hoping if you're watching at home, you love Valorant just as much as we do. So I'm hoping that, you know, we got the good crowd here to kind of go through all of this promotion relegation stuff for challengers.
Yes, of course. No, I mean, I love Valorant as much as the next person in chat, but obviously stage two promotion relegation. We've seen some awesome teams the past 2 days. Today, tomorrow, it's just gonna be great Valorant all 4 of these days. And it's intense because it's their life and death situation, promotion relegation. How important is it for these teams to win?
I mean, listen, it's so difficult to get your way back into challengers. You got to go through a brutal best of one type of formatting through the whole premier system to try and get your way in. And so Team Evictix, Rise of Scarlet Empire, Shopify Rebellion Gold, these 3 teams came into this tournament looking to make sure that they can secure their spot to make sure that they enter into stage 3. Unfortunately, we did have to say goodbye to Shopify Rebellion Gold. They are not going to be moving forwards here, which is very sad in my opinion.
I know.
But Evictix and Rose still have quite a bit of work put out in front of them, as you know, they've not qualified just quite yet.
Yes, I mean, we saw these past 2 days, we had Evictix up against SRG, and then we had Rose up against SRG, and it was a 2-0 on both sides for Evictix and Rose. So, I mean, we look like we're going to an even playing field today.
We call it even playing field, but it's going to be really interesting to me to see kind of how these teams are going to go up against each other. Because yes, you could look at their matches against SRG as a little bit of a barometer to kind of see how these teams are going to be playing against each other. But at the same time, they're both bringing something that is a little bit more uniquely their own thing and a different kind of clashing style on how, you know, these 2 teams decide to approach the game of Valorant.
Yeah, and we've seen Rose and Evictix. This isn't their first time going up against each other. By far, we've seen them go up against each other actually twice. And both times, Evictix did end up 2-0ing Rose. So, I mean, Rose stands for the rise of the Scarlet Empire. And I'm not looking for any fall of the Scarlet Empire today. What does Rose need to do to keep up with Evictix to kind of flip that narrative?
Well, it is really funny because, yeah, you're 100% correct. Previously, we saw them face up against each other in stage 2, and then more recently in the Funhaver tournament. A lot of these types of teams like to run the gauntlet on just to make sure they're practicing their strategies and understand what's kind of going on here. But, you know, like I said, they're bringing in a couple of new changes as we kind of go through this whole promotion relegation system. Rose has a very solidified roster, while Evictix have a couple of changes, but you know what? Still, I'm curious to see what they're going to be bringing out here.
Yes, well, why don't we take a look at the Evictix roster? Who we have going into for today?
All right. Well,
I mean, yeah, I mean, you know who I love? I love watching Shaw's Neon. And before this, we were talking about how like the Neon patch isn't live yet. And this is every Neon's main's dream. So I'm excited to see what Shaw's has to show us today.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. When you look at how Evictix has come into this one, Shaw's has been that new roster addition who has just been really making a name for himself on that kind of aggressive style of Neon. Obviously, if you tuned into some of the previous matches that Evictix has gone through, you've seen him just kind of fly through with an operator in hand and somehow still find like 4 kills in a round, which is kind of unbelievable because you don't expect the Neon there. But a lot of these players have been playing together, and once again, Team Evictix was the team in Stage 2 at the very beginning that was kind of making everyone sweat a little bit. Like T-Dog, Dre, and Scotty, they were doing an excellent job at really just making things look like Evictix were going to come out on top. But unfortunately, towards the end of Stage 2, they did kind of scale back a little bit, and then this is why we're seeing them now fighting for their spot in the promotion relegation tournament.
Yes, and in their game that we saw up against Shopify Rebellion Gold 2 days ago, I think it was, Dre played absolutely phenomenal, going pretty much almost triple positive. So here we have Dre is looking great, as well as all of Evictix. So again, I can't wait to see what they have to bring to the table today. What do you think about Dre? What does he need to do to make sure that this is a 2-0 secured?
I mean, like, look at that picture. He's just standing there,
That's
arms
just
crossed,
aura.
ready for business, man. And on top of that, hey, let's look at the stats as well, because walking away with an ACS of 303.5 is kind of nuts. Normally, Dre, on that initiator role, is very known for kind of playing the Sova, kind of playing the Fade. But yesterday, we were treated to a lot more of that Vise gameplay. And one thing that was really impressive to me watching Dre kind of go through all of that was just how good Dre was at really holding things down on their own. I mean, you could just put this guy on the defensive spot anywhere and Dre was getting that value and honestly kind of converting rounds to make sure that Evictix were in that position where they could just shut SRG down right away. Dre was a huge impact player in that match that we just saw them go through.
Yes, 100%. I mean, having a KDA of that level is kind of insane. You're initiator main, but you're fragging like a duelist main. So, I mean, you have the best of both worlds with Dre. But I think Rose is obviously going to put up such a great fight, as we saw. And I did say before, they both won against Shopify Rebellion Gold. I like how we have very mysterious pictures. Bob and Jared, they're so mysterious, but they have so much to bring to the table. Tell me what you think about their roster. What do they have to do?
Yeah, I love the way that you kind of set that up as well, because, you know, a lot of these names, if you've been watching Challengers, you should be very familiar with people like Corrupt, Retro, Bob, Tim, and then on top of that, Rose bringing in Sherrod, who has just been frying people when it comes to playing Chamber. I mean, obviously, if you look at the statistics, Sherrod, definitely that strong chamber player, but is just well-rounded as well on that sentinel role. Not afraid to step into the killjoy, and then of course going with players like Retro, who has that duelist experience, but is so good on this initiation. Corrupt and Tim doing so much stuff as well on their respective roles when it comes to those controller players. Like, a lot of these guys are just so good at their individual plays that really helps Rose kind of rise above the rest when it comes to a lot of these smaller tournaments that they've been kind of running the gauntlet on.
I like how you did that there, rise above the rest, like the rise of the Scarlet Empire. But let's look at Corrupt's stats, because honestly, he's also been doing a great job adding so much value for Rose as well.
Yeah, Corrupt is honestly, when you take, I do feel like the stats, when compared to the one that we just saw for Dre, it's not really painting the best picture of Corrupt. But I've just been really impressed with Corrupt's gameplay when it comes to playing this Viper role. I think that a lot of these controllers throughout the entirety of Challengers and at this kind of tier 2, tier 3 level, a big component of it has been how the Vipers have been playing. And we've seen Corrupt have those moments of brilliance on Viper, knowing when to step out of the poison cloud, knowing when to play around the wall. But we just need to see it get a little bit more consistent, and that could be a huge boon for Rise to be able to rise to the occasion here, pardon my pun, and be able to take some wins against some of these other teams.
I know what I was gonna say, sorry, I almost cut you off, was that when we looked at Dre's stats, I mean, those are just like unreal stats. Like these are more like, okay, like you're still so good, but like these are like more doable. You look at Drazen and it was like just so crazy to even think about. So I know you said like they didn't rise to look like the same, but one is just like crazy and unreal, and the other one's a little bit more realistic on how me and you could maybe achieve.
Yeah, I'm gonna be straight up honest. I don't have those reflexes. I'm not gonna be putting up Dre numbers anytime soon. So that to me, I'm just like, wow, look at those shiny numbers up over there.
Exactly.
If only I could get to that point.
Oh, so pretty to look at. But we do have a head-to-head, so let's head to the Philips Norelco head-to-head next.
Yeah, this is a really interesting head-to-head that we've been putting together here, because we've kind of talked about how Shots has been playing on that Neon, that hyper aggressive gameplay style where you see him just kind of flying through there. And to be fair, Evictix have been doing a really good job to try and support that, but at the end of the day, it's just that hyper aggressive Neon that we're seeing get so much value and convert so many rounds for Evictix. On the flip side though, Retro, who we get to see Jet being kind of that main duelist that Retro has been playing, as we see Rose kind of lean more into that double duelist play style. But Retro has also been playing the initiator role just a little bit more. And I think that that has been one of those areas that we're seeing that utility shine, just because Retro's so aware of how you're supposed to approach when it comes down to these duels, what your duelist player is expecting. And so the initiator has been really supportive of that. But coming into this one, Retro being a little bit more of that kind of secondary duelist, it's gonna raise a lot of questions, because it's, you know, you're David looking at Goliath right now. Shaw's got this kind of unbelievable stat line, and it's very difficult for a team to be able to try and have their duelist player match up to those levels.
I do have to say, I love the dive meta going on right now in Valorant. I know that a lot of people are iffy on this, and obviously we have the Neon nerfs coming soon, so obviously everyone was hating it, but I love to watch it. I mean, it's so fun, so fast-paced, and what you were saying, Shaw's is crazy, the way that he just flies in there, soon to be slowly going in there with the Neon nerf, but I love how he flies in there, and I'm excited to see how Rose has to combat that, and what Retro could also do to combat that. Will we see that Jet again? Will we see him on Duelist, or will we see him play another role?
Yeah, it is going to be really interesting. And now that we go into our map picks and bans, I think that this paints a much more interesting photo between these two teams. Starting out with Lotus, which was Evictix's pick, which Evictix, like, they've picked this one 6 times in recent history.
They love Lotus.
Rose loved this map as well, but between them, just stat-wise, like, yeah, this is a very, like, even down map for both these teams.
Yes, I agree. I mean, we have a, what, 40% win rate for Evictix on this map, and Rose has a 33%, I think, something around that. So it's very, very even. But we've seen Evictix pick Lotus, like you said, 6 times, and Evictix bans Pearl pretty much 6 times. So it's very obvious here, but I'm excited to see Ascent, because Ascent is new. What do you think?
Yeah, Ascent is the big one with all of the question marks. I mean, this has been the map that has come back into rotation. Everyone knows it at this point, but given how the meta is kind of shifting around here, I mean, when you talk about Ascent, you expect a lot of Jets, but we're still on the old Neon patch, so maybe Neon's still going to come into play. There's still a lot of questions, as both these two teams haven't really shown anything. So we're kind of coming into this one blind, and then if need be, we will be going to Haven for our final map, and I think that that one might be a little bit more favored towards Rose, just because they have the sheer number of reps when it comes to that Haven map compared to Evictix.
Yeah, no, but I love how we have 2 3-site maps. I love a 3-site map, because I think that mid-control is always... Mid-control on all of these maps are actually so important. I mean, Lotus, you have that B-site where it's so, like, important to have that lurk, as well as that Haven. And honestly, Ascent, where mid probably is the most important place.
Yeah, I mean, we're also in that, like, era now where you can't just, like, spray things down on B all the time, which, like, thank goodness for that.
Thank gosh.
You know, I think that as we get into our predictions here, this is going to be kind of a fun one, huh, Mia?
Yeah, we have the desk up against the casters. Who's going to come out on top? I wonder who the chat thinks is going to come out on top. Are you team desk or are you team casters? What is your thought on this?
Oh man, yeah, just forget about the whole fact that we're parading two teams here. Are you with the desk or are you with the caster? Just make your decision now. But, you know, like, I really do like Rose coming into this matchup. Obviously, the history between these two teams would lean a little bit more Evictix, as Evictix have kind of beat them twice now, 2-0. But hey, we're already getting into our map picks, our first map of the day as we get into Lotus, so we can kind of take a look at some of these compositions here, Mia.
Shaw's on Neon. That's all I have to say. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm interested about too is Sherrod coming in on the Raze. Previously, we had seen Sherrod be on that chamber specifically here, but given the fact that they lost 4-13 against Evictix last time, you know that Rose are coming into this trying to change up their composition, bring in a couple of newer ideas to this, which is why I think we're as well seeing Retro now go onto the Vibes while Sherrod plays that Raze. I'm genuinely really curious to see how this changeup is going to be working out, because to me this feels like it's a bit more uncomfortable on what these two players are kind of used to playing in their respective roles.
I have a question for you, Marks.
Heavy.
Do you think, what Sentinel do you like more on Lotus, Vice or the Deadlock?
Oh man, that's kind of hard. I think I lean a little bit more towards Vise. I'm not a big fan of either of them. I kind of think Cypher's your goat on this map, but I think the Vise might be a little bit more helpful at least catching that Neon out with that shear.
All right, well, enough yapping. Let's go straight to the games where Zobi and Gompers will take it away.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much. I am joined here with Zobi. And Zobi, I'm quite excited to kind of get into this, right? We talked briefly about some of the changes going on both of these teams, right? Obviously, the rise of the Scarlet Empire, and now making changes with in regards to who their IGL is and how they're going to implement some things, as well as obviously Dre going on to that Fade role.
Oh, 100%. And I think this is kind of feels like retroactive to the success Team Evictix has found during Promo Rally, where Dre was on that primary controller, right? That's what Marks was praising in the pre-show, was their ability to be the side anchor. So I'm wondering and worrying that this is going to be, again, a reversal of the success that they've found versus the Rose changes. I do feel like accommodate Bob on that IGL role a bit more, right? This was the one where she was weirdly on the Duelist still, which she does play for Swim Trek Blue, but I think this will definitely, accompany that information supply and decision-making a lot more. And again, Sherrod is aggressive. Sherrod plays Jet on other maps, so I think it's right up their alley in that regard and should be a nice mesh. And it does refresh things, which is much needed when this is now a triple time rematch. But again, seeding on the line, neither team wants to face off against Jackpot. Let's get into the action, Gompers.
Yeah, super excited. You know, we did talk briefly about Bob and exactly what changes they're making. A little bit more mental this time around here for Rose, and mental it will be, right? We're already seeing Shaw's catching them off guard and allowing Evictix to maybe get one. So all the while, though, player advantage still leading over to Rose.
A very bloody B main fight. Stabilization, regroup going to be the name of the game for Rose to make sure they don't lose the numbers they've established. And it seems like a pretty seamless process. Just defender spawn, the hot spot for Evictix to regroup and figure out where this spike is headed.
Yeah, very hard for this to be a winnable round. Obviously, Scotty and Slammed being the only players left alive. Every single area within the B site completely controlled here by Rose. And now the fight commencing. No utility other than maybe a smoke that has replenished here for Slammed, and they cannot use it. But I believe, right, time of the essence, Bob missing out on some of the shots, but able to secure that, and Scotty left alone. And there it is, right, finalizing their first round on the board here for Rose.
And again, you don't want to read too much into Pistol, but I think that was a good litmus test. Rose, they make contact, they disengage, they're not overheating early on. And I wish the remaining two there between Scotty and Slammed were swinging that little 3-2-1 together out of Blue Room, but you could see the paranoia in the back of the mind. Was someone rewrapping? Was there alert player unaccounted for coming through A? So things to keep track of when we get into the rifle rounds, all in all, through and through. But again, I think Rose, if they're firing early on, that was a great early engagement to showcase that. And now Evictix with its heavy A fight are looking to overwhelm double lurk. We'll see what happens.
And I like this. Already so much util being expended off in the beginning, you know, just trying to finish up the round as fast as possible. But for Evictix, I mean, it really is just the beginning. I'm not going to count them out just yet. Yes, they faced, you know, so many victories thus far, and they are the top dogs of the entirety of this game, you know, you can say. But Rose applying the pressure for this to be such an early game, already seeing a lot of differences in their gameplay, the fact that their synergy's looking a lot better, and now, I mean, potentially finalizing this off with a 4-person advantage here.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous that they outpaced the A fight utility and that Bulldog was dropped, but they are bodyguarding it like this round depends upon it. And it is perfect. Corrupt keeping the Vandal in hand, the regroup from Retro, all that speaks to stability, while they entrusted in this duo to take an abandoned C site for the actual spike objective.
Take hold.
Yeah, no information given away off that. They're really just playing the quiet game, trying to catch on maybe the the walk-offs, seeing if they can get as much eco damage as they can. But I mean, good, just keeping it intact. And I mean, something honestly, Zoe, that I'm really interested in is like the changes that we're seeing in Rose, even though it has been only the second round, is Bob has been discussing wanting to apply, more of a mentally positive experience here for Rose instead of focusing mainly on the strategic that they've been doing, which, to me, signifies like this team really has been putting in a lot of the work in regards to not only changing the way they're thinking, but also the way that they're playing, which could put them honestly at an advantage.
100%. And I've actually gotten to see that energy in the server is truly infectious. And I do think, especially for a team that plays not just in VCL, but also the core between Bob, Corrupt, and Sharad and Game Changers, like, you have to enjoy playing with each other. You have to have good energy in the server, or you're going to get sick of each other, and it's going to affect your performance and your trades and your communication, right? And it's going to affect, I think, the snowballing aspect. And with that round one in the fashion it was for Rose, with them, losing the one Bulldog, but maintaining both Vandals, they have a decent shot at converting. You saw them funneling as well the ult orbs toward Bob, so they can win these early fights and farm that up. Oh, a banner good start. That's not, but
yeah, the delay in the smoke didn't really help the case there, unfortunately. But that's going to be a good first shot here for Evictix, and it does give them a little bit more leeway playing with this, especially with Sharad down, them being such a significant player throughout the entirety of what Rose stands for here. But they miss out on that duelist play. Are going to close things off. Ooh, yeah, already not looking good so far. EVX, Evictix keeping the site under lock. And Rose, they might actually lose out on that first round. Yes, there are Hero Rifles and Corruptus playing their best game, but 30 health left to their name. And absolutely no utility here, Zobi.
Shaw's 17 HP just waits for the reinforcements to arise, talk to screen up. And now you need someone to be that hero Corrupt trying to get a timing through stairs. Bob finds one over the tip top as well. And now here's that mid-round call from Bob. Go bait them out, see if Corrupt can catch a timing.
If Corrupt can secure this, they've given themselves
a
potential third. This is so good. I mean, the fact that they're able to diminish these numbers as much as they have, unfortunately, though, Dre is going to catch out Corrupt on that crossplay. So Bob trying to find something, and will they be able to? I think so, right? There is a slight disadvantage that Dre has absolutely no idea where the positioning of Bob is.
Yeah, time now, the major enemy here, and Dre with a haunt back online will know if it's a tap, if it's a fake. Like the backside idea, though. Should at least confirm the spike plant at a minimum.
They have the ult. One pick, in reality, is all Bob needs. Of course, damage being made, information given away. They know Dre's gonna peek this. They have it. The aim is there. And this is beautiful timing. Bob has moved out of the way. And they need this win to make sure that Evictix is not set off rail.
She called the bluff.
Oh no, in this very moment, Bob doesn't know, but this is difficult, right? Information is given away briefly, and it does put them in such an unfortunate position, just playing the timing, and timing is theirs, but Evictix, they managed to keep this win.
Wow, I thought Bob was inside Scotty's head for the first portion of that 1v1, right? Calls initial bluff of what could have been a full stick, and then haunts after the halfway mark, but it was that late scale timing, and unfortunately robs Rose of a beautiful third round bonus. And it was so elongated, right? Timing on timing, mind games on mind games, and it was only fitting that it came down to the 1v1. And I think the only silver lining there is, again, Rose did so much damage to the economy for Evictix, and they held on to that Nightfall for Bob as well, which is going to be a great initiation tool into their first rifle round.
Yeah, I'm liking the aggression straight out of C site. Obviously, the continuous same amount of utility that we're seeing be thrown out of A as well. And I do believe such a good way to really just bait everything.
No contest, really.
Here
comes the Nightfall we mentioned.
Yeah, back onto site. They don't see anything. They know that. I mean, At least the left-hand side of site is clear. The blind has come through, so Scotty has to back off. This is going to be one of those retake situations.
Understood it. They respected it. Now we'll see what they can do with the Stingers to rescale in that complement the rest of his Vandal buy.
This one's hard, though. Gerard, I mean, in reality, really just trying to pick up the pace, but Rose already have it, right? 4 players left onto the site. Scotty's now making their numbers worth, and they are fighting for this. The confidence is there, and it leaves Rose in an unpredictable situation where they can't even fight for the back of site. So that's going to be a beautiful 2-2.
Wow, and I think that's the cleanest we've looked from Evictix in terms of their coordination as well, right? You look at how the previous 1v1 was set up, right? It was Dre kind of outpacing Scotty and taking that 1v1 up against Bob, thinking that he had timing. And you look at the pistol round as well, that blue room engagement. There, it was like one after another. And yeah, Scotty was kind of the catalyst there, finding 3 crisp shots, probably invigorated by the previous clutch. But all in all, Nightfall with no conversion is a huge, huge victory, especially when they had that fragmented buy from losing so many weapons on the bonus. So we're looking towards, again, Sherrod to make that deep site presence that they tried going for, and unfortunately were shut down, maybe with a bit more support from the rallying teammates. But for the time being, like you mentioned, 2-2. And last time Rose outpaced the A main utility. It looks like we're headed to bark up that tree once again.
Yeah. Oh, a little faster, though. Tim does TP down towards backside. Oh, and Shaw's is better. Despite Neon, you know, maybe eventually being taken out of the mix, it seems like it's working pretty well for now.
Yeah, this A main fight once again goes Evictix's way. So we're going to see Rose have to come into a major problem-solving period, basically, where the C hosts are suffering, the A take is suffering. What can they do later? Because this round feels dusted unless Bob can have a heroic moment here and slice and dice the pie, or maybe a lucky sheriff shot from Retro could open up the C site.
But having the spike and peeking out on these angles really is not the play here. Already 3 players now surrounding the spike, and this could have been a moment where they play together, right? They secure the C site, and now it leaves Retro having to play on their lonesome. So that is unfortunate, but it is going to be another win for Evictix. Well deserved.
A lead recaptured on their map pick as well in tow. And Bob 7-3 having a great start to the game, but I agree. I want a bit more intention with these starts, and maybe a bit more patience in the early round as well. Like I like the confidence between the C Mountain takes because it hasn't been resistance from Evictix, but Rose, right? Like you look at this enemy team, right? Again, Gravnet, Snakebite, Paranoia, Seas, and that Rele Bolt. It feels like it would be impossible to win the A main fight outright, and they're going for it again. Luckily this time, it does look like they disengaged and had an idea to counter it, right? Snakebite, Shrouded Step again. Works out.
Yeah, actively trying to adapt. Unfortunate that now their util has actually been the one expended maybe a bit too much. But they still have a lot of potential here. Oh, and it's just impossible with T-Dog making a play of a lifetime for Evictix to keep themselves in the game. And I mean, at that, they initially, yes, got the A site, but now they can't even keep it. It's a huge win.
Yeah, T-Dog switching up. Again, the composition from the previous successes they were able to find. It was on Tejo, by the way, and now it's sporting the deadlock and showcasing maybe why they wanted that site hold power a little bit. And yeah, the creme de la creme was dropping Retro so early on so that Shaw's could get that flank play through to keep the rest of the players contained. There's a round, though, for Rose to bounce back. It is going to be the next ults online, ready and rearing to go. And this kind of goes back to wanting Rose to slow down just a bit, to give a bit wider map control, because now Evictix know that they're not keeping tabs, not keeping a dedicated lurk player off of a play like that.
Yeah, 4 rounds in a row, 2 already run out by Rose. Which kind of leads to economic despair. And you're put in a position where, like, you pretty much really have to step it up. Get as many picks as you can, wait for the next round, and really try to win as much as you can. I mean, realistically, or else you're going to be stuck in this very, very difficult spiral. But Dre already securing the first, slammed, making sure the second is there as well. And Evictix stuck in a very, very good momentum that now, honestly, might be impossible to get out of at this point. Bob, though, hitting some shots. So that's 2 potential rifles to pick up here.
Yeah, Bob POV of that, but she's got to keep it going. Oh, what she does! Blank, though. Timing going to be everything. Sherrod gets dropped, no longer a 2v2. Bob, I like the stop.
Yeah, did pick up the rifle, and Bob's aim actually is insane, so I feel like if anyone, this might be the best point. So now some util, at least, being brought about inside of their utility. They could rotate over to C site, keeping the B intact, knowing the location of where Scotty is right now. just waiting to see what they can do. Of course, 22 health left, playing the head glitch game, hoping they can secure the pick. And the right position is good, right? Bob is aware of the situation and tries to apply that pressure, but it just does not work.
She got faked out by her own Prowler, thinking that Scotty was already on the low ground, down the steps into the middle of the B site, and Scotty now crazy clutch numbers, 2 for 2 for Evictix, being that centerpiece, that cornerstone, and you just see the confidence in the way Evictix was taking these engagements, right? Slammed on a pretty outward angle. Again, I mean, that solo scaling from Dre, when it was an eco round, he easily could have been fighting into a stack without deeper contact made for confirmation. It's a dicey position to be in. And Rose, in its attack-sided Lotus, a 3-site map, with ults in a buy now at their peak. This feels like a big swing right now. I'm surprised we didn't get a timeout to like come up with a good game plan, considering the 4 on Evictix's side and the double ops now coming out.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, such a big moment for Rose. Unfortunately, a lot of the util that we've been seeing, you know, come through from Retro hasn't been working as much, so I'm assuming maybe they're thinking the op will apply that pressure that they're looking to make, but Corrupt already down, right? They've lost out on their Viper and have to try to figure out a way to get themselves onto the site without being, you know, completely, I mean, put dry.
And looks like Evictix have changed their tune. They were letting him on C-site previously. This one looks like they're going to stop him at the door.
Oh, and that was beautiful. Utility coming at the perfect time. Sherrod actually missing out on the experience as they cannot seem to get anybody down. And the wall has made it even harder, so there cannot be a follow-up. This is perfect, right? Timing is there. And this team of Evictix have figured out the pace of play of Rose.
Look at this immediately as well. Shaw's closes in. Slam closes in. They're keeping them contained to this C-mount position. You can't go anywhere. Again, look at where Slam and Shaw's are. Like, the best choice is to do exactly what Bob is doing, whittling away the stack one at a time off of this util timing, off of spraying down smoke, and I don't even think they realize Retro has the op yet.
No, and it's brutal because they're toggling smokes as well, right? When Scotty's goes down, Slammed has replenished, they can put theirs back up. And I mean, at this point, the relocation has been made, so Evictix, in reality, Zobi, like, they're just so good with time.
Yeah, and Rose getting the pistol, getting the follow-up is characteristic, but what comes after that has to rely on concrete calling, and I don't know, I feel like Evictix are really hard to read right now, right? Sometimes it's those really stark A fights, other times it's concealed stacks with deadlocks, now there's an operator there. I feel like the tempo in which they've been making changes before Rose could pinpoint what's going on and create a hot fix has been really, really nice. So shout out there, and Rose finally taking a timeout. It's like, okay, but what change, what defensive form are we adjusting to out of Evictix? And I think the big takeaways right now is that Evictix are looking for first bloods. They're getting a little bit aggressive. If we can split it up, maybe we can find a way to trap that, to counter that. Maybe like a little C-mounting into a revolving door crunch through B. Right? It's going to be difficult because it's a half buy, but if you can get onto a site and get this pit down from Corrupt, and Bob keeps getting frags like she is, I do think there are grounds for an eco to turn this half around.
You know, and I completely agree. It's unfortunate, though, because, you know, we look at Retro and Tim, and the impact that we're not getting out of their utility is also kind of setting back Rose as well. And it's not like they can do anything about it, right? T-Dog, incredibly impressive when it comes to setting down their utility at those peak moments where they're trying to get onto site as well for Rose, right? And then they completely shut them down. The utility has been gone. You know, there's no way to really set forth from there. So kind of interesting, actually really exciting, too, to see Evictix kind of step up in this light.
I think Retro's a great comment because he also was on the Vice for like the first time. Yeah. And that's why he's struggling, but they're not struggling as Shaw's. Finally, they fight for Mount. They've conditioned it for so long. This is what I meant, making changes on the fly, Gompers.
Oh, but I don't think they know about the Never mind. I was going to say they don't know about the reposition, but Shaw's does not care. Hyper awareness, of course. And Tim finally does make that contact. So even though there are 2 players down on the side of Rose, there is a lot of potential here.
Don't know how Retro found this timing, but ahead of the wall, the bait from destroying it main. This should be nice. Dre, hook, line, sinker.
Ooh, wow. That's beautiful. Okay. So a little bit of a different game here from Rose. Instead, they have split themselves up, tried to play a little bit more quietly and bait out some of that util. And I like this, exactly what you said, Zobi, right? Bringing out that pit for this round and making sure that they can keep the site. But T-Dog better at least securing one. And this is where things get a bit difficult, right? There's no information as to where Corrupt could be hiding. So they really have to try to do their absolute best in this moment. The peek from Slammed, that does not, allow them to do anything. And it's really just this 1v1 scenario The smoke does go down. They're going in with the pistol, maybe finding one, but Retro shuts it down.
I think I'm a counter curse Gombers. I point out a player's having a bad day, a bad game, a bad stage, and then, suddenly they get a 3-pick off of their ult and clutch the round. That's exactly what just happened to Retro. They were the one that found that timing into the B side, opened it up for the From the Shadows and the Viper's Pit that bought enough time, and there were some silly shenanigans, slammed, hop, skip, jump from a tether, for example, from T-Dog that made things a bit dicey, but again, it was holding the timing, and I understand they could invest ultimates into that eco round so they could keep this closer to a 6-6 half.
Kind of keep into what they were doing previously in regards to making that noise over towards C and keeping B preoccupied, but yeah.
I like Shaw's on the deep line. It's very revolving door-esque. Don't think they spotted the gun barrel just yet. Now they have. All right. I think they like B now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely seems like the easiest, the close contact that they're able to make, and Sherrod actually allowing themselves to really push through with their paint shells. And the damage is there, but can they continue to keep the game alive, right? You still got 3 players left on the side of Rose, but Evictix slammed is I mean, quite generally slammed in regards to what their health is looking like right now.
Ooh, they've kind of handed over the 2v2, though, with that reflank attempt from Tim. Spike just now going down. Slammed, disengages, repositions, gonna try and group up, which means Retro will be facing 1v2 if the timing is there. No. Okay.
And now with the Odin, Retro is actually trying to, I mean, really just play this 360 organically. Scotty, though, I mean, does have a bit of utility to utilize here, but it's not gonna, I mean, the 1v1's just gonna have to come through, but this is very, very good performance coming through from Rose. Good clutch on Bob.
Scotty loses a clutch, right? And it's perfect for the Rose comeback arc. And Bob, 15 and 7 right now. Again, she's thriving off the role swap. Sherrod and Retro maybe taking the brunt of that in order to have this success. But again, the team's winning. Don't think you mind too much. And even forcing an Evictix timeout because of how stark of a turnaround has happened, right? You win 6 in a row and suddenly you're losing some back-to-back. Nah. Let us see. Evictix as well have been sitting on these ultimates for a second, right? T-Dog, we saw that Annihilation come out previously on the A anchor. Haven't seen it since. Shaw's as well, even while Opping didn't opt to pull it out. And,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Evictix... The reframing Rose is done by slowing things down and framing, waiting for these engagements while duoed up instead, right? Retro, for example, it's Tim or Corrupt at his side so he doesn't get overwhelmed by Trey eco swinging. It's been a nice counter. So maybe I want to see Evictix either deeper commit into a fight with these ultimates like they did with the Operator, like they were doing in their main exchanges. Or, just play a little bit further back, play a cohesive retake, and keep tabs on all these avenues that Rose have been exploiting.
Yeah. We're also kind of seeing a big change from Retro and Tim. I mean, I can see a lot more impact being made. And they're actually, that's kind of why I like the slower pace of play, because when they were trying to execute quickly, it felt like Evictix was reading a bit more into what the util was going to look like there. So now allowing Retro to kind of lurk is definitely a better role here. I mean, the Odin's been working as well. Never stops working, realistically.
It's like, thanks for the gift, Evictix. I'm going to use this until the half is up, because they haven't lost it. And it is, in fact, Evictix patching the hole to B main lurk with a high-low and playing a bit deeper into the C space. Last time we saw them try and challenge the Viper and Deadlock and the Fade, all with joint utility in the C space, it went pretty catastrophically. So I'm curious what this is going to entail for Evictix.
Bring them down.
Oh my gosh. The info that just did not come through is insane because Bob does not know someone's stuck on the right-hand side. Dre has been saved by the Lords, it seems, but luckily enough, okay, smoke comes out at a good time, so Scotty does stop this push from handling
how
himself.
much util did they just use, though, to not even entry into the C site? That's, I think, my big concern, but
30 seconds
I'm also dismayed that Evictix broke up the high-low that was anchoring B, right?
Yeah.
Shaw's now just in spawn, hanging out, waiting for the rotates, and once again, it feels like Rose will get B pretty much for free.
Yeah, Slammed actually blocked off too, so they're gonna have to back off, play the retake game. But I'm wondering, based off the amount of YouTube we're seeing here, Slammed could really allow this team to flourish on that retake, right? Shaw's having the ultimate, T-Dog actually having theirs as well. So for Evictix right now, they're in best case scenario. They've taken out Charad. Now all they need to do is really just execute on this based off the util that we've seen.
That's why they're fighting forward on the Rose side. Look at Link, look at top mid.
Oh, beautiful. And there it goes. Shaw's is ready to go. They're not going to apply their ult just yet, but actually just based off the teamwork here and that paranoia that allowed that initiation to come through, it's working out perfectly. So it is going to be T-Dog to allow them to continue their stride onto site. And Evictix, they've won their next round.
A very, very nice reactivity there from Evictix with those players playing in such close proximity. Again, the overdrive again. Annihilation, just a nice little scare tactic there to get the round through, to get a lead confirmed, which was the major goal, the major takeaway, right, from that timeout on the Evictix side. So, smoothing, moving pretty easily forward on their map pick again, a map they have not lost yet. And what's the worst they've done? 13-7, I believe, up against Rose. There was that in the 13-4 between VCL Swiss Stage 2 and a third-party MFH event.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think, again, they haven't had extensive issues like Rose did, but Rose fixed their issues. So now that we're kind of back in that pickle, I do like Rose shifting gears back to something we haven't seen since the start of the half, which was these A fights, maybe?
The A fights scare me a bit, because as far as we've seen from Rose, they have gotten shut down a pretty fair bit. And I'd say the retake for Evictix on the A side is stronger than what it would be on the B side, as we've seen. Obviously, T-Dog really applying themselves to that last round with the ultimate. So I guess seeing how well this is going to work, right? Shaw is not having the operator this time. He's actually going to have to just isolate the fights here.
Whoa.
But beautiful pain shell to back off this second, I mean, two-player engagement.
Yeah, and a rare whiff as well from Shaw, so that one-way neutralized. Dre, who would be the difference maker? We mentioned the disrespectful walkdowns. B main, now the team's contained. Rose feel forced to accelerate into the C site, accelerate into the stack and the Odin.
Okay. So through smoke, valid. But the Odin never is not trusted. So it's a very, very good weapon to make some of those calls. But I like
Slam's
this,
like,
right?
I
Just
got it
taking
back.
advantage. Yeah, Slam has it.
It's like, wasn't gonna be yours forever, Retro. And the drop smoke, it's a classic Gompers, and it is just as lethal this time around. Bob, Tim, lucky to be swimming, not drowned.
Oh my gosh. Actually
Matrix.
aimbotting. Actually aimbotting, that's insane. Always on crosshair. But I like this information given away. They've heard the noise. They're just gonna spray through smoke again. Once Tim makes that repeat, but 5 health left. I mean, it really doesn't matter. Rose is in a very, very bad position for this round.
Yeah, it was last round of the half. They wanted the confirmation, and Dre has a position, so they're contained C for the time being.
Yeah.
With 20 seconds left, by the way.
Nah, they're gonna push and they're gonna ace.
We're doing it again?
Oh my gosh, can they stop? And I like what Slam does with pushing their smoke a little higher to give themselves more time to seek out the feet of these people. So interesting, but Evictix closing this out 8-4 on this half. I am excited though, Zobi. I do like the fact that now we're gonna actually see Retro in a better light, to be honest, as that Sentinel role. So.
Yeah, again, duelists or typical duelists, because that's Retro's background. I think back to the Little Burger Boys times, you know, Gompers. But it is, again, a lot of solo fights where you're self-propelling yourself, and I think that translates really well into solo anchoring sites as a Sentinel player. Outside of that, I really am more excited to see Charad in a more directed role, because Charad was even lurking, right? You just felt the chamber genes clawing their way back to the surface, and it really wasn't working out, right? 4 and 11. Again, to me, Charad's the it factor for Rose 90% of the time. When they're winning, when they're finding success, right, topping the leaderboards, 30 bombs, etc. So this is rare, and we'll see if they can turn the ship around. For now, starting with an A fight is a great litmus test, Gompers. How the half's gonna go.
But they weren't as aggressive as Evictix here, actually. I do feel like they're a bit more passive in regards to fighting this off. They're playing the 1v1s, the fight isolations, but it's not working, right? Bob making way towards the back of A. I mean, that's insane. Main has been completely cleared by Rose.
Yeah, with less util, they still get the job done. Even navigating that toxic screen. Very nice. Scotty. A lot of slack to pick up here.
But they don't know. I mean, silence is key. But screens down, that's unfortunate timing. Tim, is able to secure it, but this is good off Rose, right? They've lost the last pistol round. I mean, actually won the last pistol round, so there's a bit more grace here.
An 8-4 being the pistol is huge, right? It prevents Evictix from getting to double digits too early, from shrinking that safety net that you have to land upon while trying to claw back a comeback. It really was that really well-placed haunt from Bob that expedited, that gave all the information to set up Sherrod to go for those engagements a little bit deeper in. And then once Spike was down, they frame up the high-low around it, and Bob good recognition on the timing that Scotty was going to try and pull through to get a clutch going. So 8-5 here. No force buy outside of the Shaw's Bucky. Try and kickstart this A fight. Which is a fake, by the way.
Out of charge.
4 stack scaling into B. Sherrod. Closer into the sniper rifle.
Oh, they're so much better, though. Okay. I mean, you got the Marshall. You know the saves coming through from Evictix. You may as well abuse it. And I do like that. You know how aggressive they're trying to be here. Shaw's is showing up, though.
Wow. Just like that, because they lost the space Shaw's had gained off barrier drop. They paused. They disengaged. They're like, okay, it's not going to be a free plant like we had hoped for. So Tim putting an elbow grease on the eco round. Rotates come through because they trust in Corrupt. Or sorry, they trust in Retro to anchor the C space. And Swin got to start redisseminating players around the map. That wall isn't front B either, so there's a little gap there, unbeknownst to Evictix for the time being.
Oh my gosh. Smoke dissipation could be the end of either Scotty or Tim, but
I like that they're cover fake too on main. Like, they're trying to hard sell this A fight.
But I like that, right? Like a really, really sneaky move over towards C site. Tim is now fighting this, and they do think that there might be a harder execution on A, but oh, noise made, arc destroyed. And so has been T-Dog. So Evictix, they lost the spike, and this unfortunate save round that has come to be, but Slammed is just gonna try to do their best here with the 7 seconds left they have, and it's just not gonna come through.
Yeah, when you have a player with a judge hard anchoring C site, no amount of faking, as well constructed as it was from Evictix, is going to go through. So, well called for Unico, but unfortunately just doesn't find the results they're looking for. Rose, this is where we now question, okay, can they find consistency, right? Not necessarily a bonus, because they did have a lighter... Okay, well, okay, I said you had a lighter buy. What is the glass can operator doing, Sherrod? No, you're a chambermaid, but that's a dangerous investment on a bonus, no?
Genuinely just, you know what? No. I'm going to say no. And the reason
it's at the
being,
right place. Oh,
nah,
no.
hear me out, because Sherrod knows what they're doing. Unfortunately, it seems like maybe not, because there's gonna be a double peak coming through. Now the op has been downed, and they can't get anything out of it. Corrupt comes way too late. Okay, that was risky, though, because the positioning on that was aggressive, Zobi.
It's kind of like a bait and switch, right? You 4-stocked, you gambled C-site. With that double fight losing mound, it's like you're drawing Evictix in to Bob, the sniper rifle, into the judge that Retro is sneakily holding in the corner. Like, I don't think Evictix would expect this.
No. Oh, gosh.
Oh, T-Dog's gonna clear it.
I guess. Slam just picked it up. Oh, no. And it's just hard, right? Like, they were thinking they'd at least get 1 or 2 off that. You could definitely tell. It was unfortunate, the panic that Sherrod had after that. But yeah, big rotation coming through. They know B site's the way.
It's not a Euro, it's not a Waylay, it's not a chamber. Like, that is such a difficult position to get out of.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if the initial satchel was intentional or a fat finger either. So didn't have double satchels to get away back into the site, which might have been the plan. Speaking of plans, though. Doesn't even really get to execute a retake alongside her teammate. Tim left in a 1v4, looking for an outskirt upgrade, maybe off of Scotty.
Ooh. Okay, Tim is safe for now, but
don't want to say
everybody's lurking in different areas. It's so dangerous. It feels like one of those games where you can't get. There's that Roblox game when you're in the store and you can't get caught by the police. You gotta hide behind them and stuff. I don't know. Guys, I'm spitting right now. If you don't know that game, you suck. But we're seeing Diffuse will potentially come through. No, actually, it's not. But I like this, all right? Getting as many picks as they can, eliminating Evictix out of the picture here. But that's still gonna be a round win for EVX.
Yeah, and the operator just goes into the abyss as well. I was worried about that being held on to for the attack side for Evictix, but thrown to the wayside in the fear of a ninja diffuse coming out from Tim. So I would say, yeah, that's a victory to a certain degree on the bonus. Taking that many weapons down after kind of a destructive opening. Huge turnaround, I would say, just out of Tim's individual prowess. So Yes, 9-6. Yes, one off of double digits for Evictix, but this is the round that matters for Rose. And maybe replicating the C-side presence. Curious to see what the A side's gonna look like.
There.
Taking the deep space take. Instead of just kind of Prowler with no follow-up, they're trying to push them towards this CB stack.
Oh, and they've already gotten so much information as to positioning here. I mean, they know that Fade and Omen are A. They have a well understanding that Raze is B. So it kind of just leads it up to conclusion as to who is residing C here for Rose.
Spike recovered. Still framed for a B end if they would like to. They're hoping Drake can get like an opener here, maybe get an orb here, or the plant late. The Nightfall online for the post.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, Retro actually just got their flashback too, so this is perfect timing. They've set it up.
That's where Shaw's is trying to trigger this wall off the lurk smoke.
OMG, there's no way. They know Shaw's is coming. I mean, Shaw's knows where they're hiding. Unfortunately, just cannot react in time. So that leaves Retro kind of just keeping the C site. That a rotation forced out of EVX.
Or look at Rose all the way through spawn. Confirms the B pivot was a fake out, so 30 seconds left. The Evictix are running out of options.
Yeah, now they're just kind of stuck like deer in headlights. They have so many... Oh, I'm sorry, Bob, but maybe next time. Either way, right? Rose are still going to be able to take this flawless round.
Just like that, Rose sit at the best they've done on Lotus versus Evictix. And with, I'm guessing, Evictix having, a broken bye, they should have a personal best on their hands. And honestly, I'm liking the little comeback story in the making, Compers, for Rose so far. Once the sides are swapping. I like the proactivity, again, of the space taking. I feel like Evictix are quick to pivot from having these deep-bedded lurk players like Dre into the grouping because it is Dre lurking. Like, again, this composition doesn't have a dedicated lurk, like, because Scotty likes to be in the fight in the moment.
Yeah, big save here.
Look at the A space, though. Once again, Shaw's with the Bucky is going to be that opener, ideally, into the site. Maybe gonna expect the Omen this time around, or Tim tucked away in tree, so it's covering their grounds here first.
Okay, Scotty's better.
But answers there, though. You know, 2 or B main, you can scale quick into A, and they're just gonna give it up, play the retake.
Yeah, I do like that one. At least, I mean, a really good, secure. I mean, taking out Tim, especially with now Corrupt being the only smoke that they can rely on. They do have some sort of retake potential with. I mean, some stuff being laid out here. Not a lot of utility utilized. Bob could allow them to get a level of information they haven't before. And now, actually, the paint shell has been put down, so Shaw's can get out of the way. For EVX right now, I mean, best case scenario playing together, making sure that this save doesn't really go too out of hand. They've gotten some pretty good picks already. So...
time delay.
Yeah, find that follow-up. Unfortunately, T-Dog gets taken down in a position where they weren't expecting, and that is going to be, the unfortunate reality. EVX can't seem to retake the site and are actually just going to wait, for the best moment to make this happen. So, 8 to 9.
Yeah, I saw the vision, I think, for getting that eco through for Evictix. Again, the annihilation, not the contact, trying to get Shaw's out of that trap play, but it came a bit too early because no one was following up on the Season 8. It was just flush and then re-engage. You talked about playing it safe, playing it grouped. That's exactly what Rose did every step of the way. They waited for a lot of that War of Attrition style utility, right? The C's, the net, the sensors, all of it just brute forced through. And we're reaching a similar point to the first half that Rose answered back on, where it's this flip point, right? Ults on both sides, a decent buy. Evictix lose this. I think Rose beats them to double digits.
Yeah, and it's cool too because we've seen them play against each other on Lotus so many times, and the fact that there's so many differences. I mean, Shaw's is already getting super aggressive. They know that this is what has been missing. Unfortunately, I mean, will they be able to just continue it? Right backside, Tim is able to watch, but T-Dog has been dominating in regards to being able to pick these fights and winning them.
Shroud cage for the time being. Showstopper, no satchels. And ooh, preying off the timing. Shaw's is going to prevent any sort of retake from coming through. I mentioned how pivotal this round was for the economic side of both squads. Bob, a little tight for cash unlike the rest of her squad, right? Strahd maybe even could get a little op going next round.
Yeah,
if they choose to. Oh, good bait. Scotty needed the Volt Orb. Double digits for Evictix. We mentioned again when these teams get pushed, when they're asked to perform, they deliver.
Kind of interesting because it hasn't been feeling like, you know, we're kind of reaching this middle ground. It feels like either Evictix is dominating a couple rounds or it's Rose. So it makes me question, you know, what should the changes be? They're taking sites so aggressively. Shaw's has actually now stepped it up, Zobi.
That's a big change. I agree. Still sitting on these ults as well. And kind of further drive their agenda. I feel like the way in which they're winning the dominant rounds are different, though. Rose has been very initiative-based, catching off guard, timings. Evictix have been very standard, right? Exec post, play positions, and even this round is no exception, right? Start, default device util, follow through, or pivot off of Scotty later.
Kind of more forthcoming here. They have a lot of space on the A site and B for Rose. They're just trying to shut it down before it becomes a problem. Big TP slammed, has absolutely no idea what's happening right now. But Tim, unfortunately, is stuck in a bad position, right? Having to isolate these fights and make sure that they can pick as many players as they can off as that rotation comes along. But they can't! They're going back and forth. Sherrod finds them, and Chas is now making that execution. So Evictix fighting for their life to gather onto the site, and now it's up to Retro. But even then, it's unfortunate, right? Only the flash left available, and now everybody else trying to fight this off with 15 health to their name.
Oh. And Evictix stabilized, realized they might have been overheating just a touch, underestimating Retro.
Oh, beautiful timing! Oh my gosh, with the peak to come through, Retro did not waste a single moment.
That is the Retro that we know and have grown accustomed to as a VCL veteran, and collects the operator again. I mentioned the op showstopper combo being underrated, so glad to see Sherrod did pull it out, but it's this moment here, that support that Tim was aided, and also just playing slightly ahead of that toxic screen, unexpected, so the paranoia does an eclipse after a nice A-take off from the shadows from Slam, and yeah, the timing just unrecognized here, and the position not safe enough for the plant either, so hats off. Again, keeping it close. Now we're back and forth. It's not one side dominant over the other, Gompers. We're in new territory, new terrain, especially considering, again, this is the furthest Rose have pushed Evictix.
They're definitely feeling the heat, and you can see them actively. Like, there's a lot of things that are ever changing, right? We're not seeing like the consistency with Shaw's going down towards C. I feel like pace of play has changed every single round, and they're really just trying to be as unpredictable as possible, but it's just not possible, right? Bob consistently getting this level of information that allows them to really make sure they know what's going on here for Rose.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I want to see it in practice, an op and a judge on the same site. What happens?
And already taken a lot of these picks under stride. Potential move on to the A side. Sherrod, we've seen them with the op before push up so aggressively and it didn't work out. So that's kind of what makes me fearful. But Corrupt is in a good spot, right? Viper's pick does come out. Sherrod stuck in a bad position. No cross hold is made. Tim knows what's going on. And the page shuffle follow up. This is beautiful utility there for Rose. And a huge play to keep them in the game.
And this is why you don't underestimate Ray's util, because when you don't have a weapon, when you only have a judge on the other side and are fully stunned up by a sensor, you know you can rely upon that damage utility forcing them back. And I don't know who hand-delivered a Vandal to Sherrod, but that just got them out of a very, very tricky situation. So 10-10 here. Again, both teams have already exhausted one timeout, and neither wants to be the first to give in this game of Checkpoint Chicken. And that is a huge team fight. I feel like most of the scrappy team fights have gone Evictix's way too, so Rose winning that one out is huge for the confidence.
Now that was such, I mean, just beautiful, right? Synergy. Tim and Sherrod kind of playing together to make sure they can at least fight that angle off with the paranoia, the paint shell to kind of follow up, and the boom bot. So really liking what we're seeing here. Communication is definitely on top, and especially with Bob taking out Scotty. And the A site now completely left over to EVX. I mean, I wonder how they're going to handle this one.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good read. The team for Rose is basically entirely here already, and they never cleared out main either. So Bob is a great util to splinter these efforts.
Somehow just stuck backside fighting that. I don't know what happened there, Rose. We're honestly just not being watched, it seems.
Yeah, it's like in the server rules and like actions aren't aligning, right? Dre, the player that should be helping you get that ace space, right? Should be the one setting up your duelist Shaws 90% of the time, especially with this composition that doesn't have flashes, is instead your lurk player. And again, this circles back to them making changes on Lotus that they might not have needed, possibly for the sake of not being predictable in Rose's eyes, right? They pick into this map, a map they have won twice against Rose, and make changes. It's that old phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and now they're just making it a bigger mess on the Evictix side. Final timeout called. Last time they took this, they were able to get those 2 rounds they wanted to crown off the first half, and I mean, it's a similar position where they're at. 2 rounds would get them at least into overtime.
Yeah.
And that's where, again, Rose haven't been taking risks. They've just been playing now more standard, honestly. Again, each individual just holding their own ground. Sherrod's hitting those op shots. Sherrod has like doubled their kills in the last like few rounds. It's been crazy. And on the flip side, for Evictix, maybe they do need to go for like just a more direct execution, right? I think that's where they've looked the strongest, were those C takes more than anything.
I agree. I think Shaw's superpower isn't in being passive. Most definitely, we've seen the best first kills come through when they were really pushing forward, and you know, just executing on site. So I'm curious to see how, you know, this passive play is going to work out.
Well, they're conditioning for an SC end, right? Make sure you can't get a revolving door play off the sensor. The issue is the deep set roots of Rose right now into C-mount space. Look at Bob, this off angle.
Oh no. Oh, and the stun is so beautiful. Paranoia to follow up. This has to be some sort of clown play that they're doing, because there's no way. And Sherrod, they know the amount of time it takes to reload the op, so they take advantage. And this is where it comes in, right? The strengths of Shaw's, and I really like that. They didn't execute on site. They weren't able to take it, but that was such a beautiful execution.
I mean, a crazy flick from Corrupt is the only reason why they don't get the C site. I mean, the wall was there, the exec was there. And the only complication now with this backpedaling is Tim never left and has a paranoia in hand. And the support of the Vice Util. So feels pretty ironclad here. We'll see what the joint trades will look like, what the timing will look like.
30 seconds.
Wait, not 30 seconds.
Not much of an indicator though of like yes, there you know, is potential for Vice Util to be pushed up. Actually, it seems like Tim making the call to allow that push to stop. And time is of the essence. 16 seconds left. They know where Tim is, and they cannot get out of it. So now they can just relax, right? Take on this 3v2 that has been given to them quite freely. And now Retro, especially with the damage being taken away, and T-Dog fighting and winning everything, makes it so much harder for Rose to keep their stride going. So 11-11 seems like it might be, I mean, going in the way of EVX.
Wow. And I did like the play from T-Dog. You might be being like, what, you have numbers because someone's in a cocoon. Why are you taking that engagement? And I think it really was just to ensure that Tim didn't get busted out, that there wasn't a chance for that retake to come through. And the pit maybe is overkill, but it's Corrupt on the other side, so who knows?
There's no way. Oh my gosh, they're peeking him. In reality, just play the time. You don't need to do anything other than that, and Scotty does play it smart, closes off the one angle of which Corrupt can move themselves along. So, I mean, good save, but it was close.
Yeah. 11-11. Again, it keeps the economy at bay more than anything on the Evictix side, since they haven't had that consistency they had in the first half, that bulk of funds. And I think that's going to hurt them coming into the next, because they're few off the overdrive, they're few off the nightfall. So I do maybe want to see, not a throwaway round necessarily, but they need to set themselves a safety net for if they lose this round, right? So I want to see some really, really good early ult orb control. That's again what they're framing for with these C-centric defaults. Same pathing, though. Predictable, track down, Corrupt already gets T-Dog to half.
I like the placement of the sound barrier, because now we're actually, you know, trying to just lure out some sort of push to secure the pick, but it's not going to work. Sherrod knows that Shaw's is there, and based off previous encounters, Shaw's knows how to play against Sherrod with the op.
Stun invested, no Vice Util triggered. Scotty, the furthest we've seen them on the A lurk. Haunt. Not gonna clear out this corner, but they'll do it the old-fashioned way with a little 3-2-1 swing, and 50 seconds left. They've got to show somewhere, and C site is a go point.
Oh my gosh. And they've actually had to move Sharad. This is so unfortunate. The level of smart that you have to be able to kind of pair up your utility like that is insane. And they've actually kept to the B side. So Evictix in such a good spot.
And now the C wall cuts the rotates off as well from Retro, so it really was up to... We're up to stop this plant. Can't do that. Dre, low HP. Wow, plays the timing as well, and this round went from disastrous in the nick of time to very decisive.
Yeah, Jiggle Peaks coming through from Retro, just seeing if maybe they could find the right angle, do some work with it. Nope, not gonna happen. Dre shuts it down. And this is match point, Zobi, for Evictix, which is dangerous, right? We've seen Evictix win against Rose so many times within the history, so, you know, it's unfortunate to see.
Oh, 100%. And I will say for Rose, it's been funny because they've made more progress with each time they face this team, right? There's that 13-11 on Haven as well, that they were really close to winning last time around. And that's kind of what this feels like to me. But then they got rolled in map 2, right? Where it was like a 4-13. And that's where I'm worried as well, because we're going into, yes, Rose's pick, but it's Ascent. And you don't have no footage for Evictix on that map, right? Because it's just re-entering into the pool. And I think it's a safe time to choose into it when this is a seeding match, because then you get a rep for it before the actual best of 5s tomorrow, where you're probably going to have to play it. And all in all, last time out gets invested though to see if they can still cinch this map, because it's not done just yet. And they'll have a decent buy as well to kind of complement it.
Yeah.
Nightfall too. I kind of want to, and you can think I'm crazy for this, because Evictix have been repeating the same strategy. Maybe want to see a Rose B fight, like Pillar. They were walking down late last time and catching off guard the players there a lot. And I think that's why Evictix shifted to this double lurk and a sensor setup. And that sensor has just given them so much safety on these late rotations. And if they can take that option off the table for Evictix, I don't think Evictix will have a plan B like this moment from Dre.
Enemy remaining. That makes 3.
I do like that though, that they're so quick with you know what they want to do after the fact if things don't work out their way for Evictix. So you can see they're altering in real time, but also incredibly quickly. The communication is there, and so is the synergy. Right?
And Rose did do it, right? Corrupt walking down B and taking deep C space, contesting in towards attacker spawn. They're gonna have all this map space and just play retake off of any delay that Retro can provide in this ace space.
I think Retro has it. Unfortunate part is really just the shotgun. I do feel like Shaw's could take advantage of that.
I think Retro hit Shaw's.
Flyby. I don't know, man.
I think they would only get one, but I've just seen Shaw's get dropped so many times on this entry. Like, yes, he gets the space because someone gets the refry, but he himself, it's been unfortunate a little bit.
I've seen some nasty stuns come through. I've seen Shaw's handle the op like it's nothing. I believe in the Shaw's game. It's been a crazy watch off the duelist part, but this is interesting, Zoe. We're actually just like they're very, very split between this B and A side.
Yeah, I feel like Evictix, because they moved slow into A, has just allowed Rose to get that much more comfortable and safe in their positions. And yeah, in 30 seconds left, there isn't a plan B this time around. You cannot back out if you're Evictix.
Yeah, they also know that the shotgun is stuck towards backside. Retro doesn't know what to do. Slammed actually catches them off guard, which is beautiful. And it leaves Rose in bad positioning, right? 2v3 now. Oh no, but this is good. The paranoia comes through. Corrupt is making way. They know that they can catch them off guard. T-Dog and Scotty let him take this to overtime.
Wow, and I was nerve-wracked, right? You mentioned the shotgun getting drowned out backside. That happens. Again, the stability of the deadlock utility allows him to not need a plan B, it feels like, and then Tim arrives, paranoia out, just flawless navigation between targets. And Corrupt as well, I think alleviating that pressure of the sensor into ropes is what allowed Tim to just kind of take the full spotlight there. So overtime on map 1. For a seeding match. Let's see how it rounds out. Evictix looking well paced here. Looking like they want to pick the forward fight if you're sending your Neon Fade into B Pillar. Little C trap on the pings.
Oh gosh. And I will say, like, Rose has definitely stepped it up when it comes to their defense. Their defense used to not be great at all whatsoever.
Which is crazy because there's no chamber anymore, Gonvers.
I love it. Like, genuinely, I love it. I think the changes they made have come, like, miles from changing the ISO, having the single duelist. I like this a lot more. I think the utility has been helping out for Rose. So really, it's just changing up what the attack has offered, right? That's been the biggest struggle right now.
Bring them down.
A little slow start for Rose. Again, wary of that forward fight that Evictix might take. Again, the trademark for Evictix was pacey changes from snail slow to cheetah quick in this round. That more describes their rotation style, right? Already having slammed over towards the C space. Again, trust heavily in early deadlock util being invested A side. Shaw's is the most fragile position here, and they know Rose likes the B site.
I'm out of here.
I wonder if... Oh, no. Okay, I was going to say, I wonder if they're being a little bit more precautious of Shaw's, but no, they knew Shaw's was aggressive enough to really pick that fight, which I like, right? Taking advantage of the individual personality and now actually allowing themselves to keep the B site. But Slam, knowing they need one, is able to capture it, but the smoke's still readily available. Not a lot of util here coming through from Evictix, and Tim has been stepping it up towards the last second. But this is bad. If Rose take this round, based off the defense we've been seeing, it's quite dangerous, Sobi.
I mean, Tim with those back-to-back multi-kills is crazy. Like, they want to steal Bob's MVP at this rate. And, yeah, running a timeout for that one, Evictix. I honestly liked what I was seeing from Evictix until I didn't gobbers. And the reason for that is because we saw so many Rose B post plants and all of them successful, right? And so Evictix had many kind of like rewinds to figure out what was happening and solve it, right? And they tried to with early denial utility on the choke and early refloods instead of letting them have the plant and playing an old-fashioned retake. And again, just none of that really worked out because of Tim's utility, because of the thorns, right? There was so much util in their face that they couldn't. And that is a really, really good overwhelming presence from Rose then in that late round. So do you think, like you mentioned, it feels like it tips in Rose's favor, but I'm also not seeing a Sharad operator, and I feel like those first bloods were a great, I feel like, lending towards that success.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're Evictix, I think you gamble on the same exact CB split default that you were doing, like the majority of the rounds that got you at least 212 following your timeout, right? We saw the one round, again, that got Rose 2 overtime where they fought for C mound, fought for B main space. Honestly, even if you're fighting into those players, I think that is a better chance than getting Serpentine surrounded on an A post plant like they did to send us to OT or, you know, fizzling out in an A main fight. Look at this, Sharad, the Paranoia, the Seize, the Haunt. I'm a little worried this is going to go by the blink of an eye, Gompers.
Oh, man, I agree, but they actually haven't used anything. And
Silent but deadly.
Kind of interesting. I'm wondering if they're trying to press more for, I mean, potential fake. No, but Shaw's is actually just trying to play the tempo. So I like this. Slower tempo and something quite different than we've seen from Evictix so far. So maybe just trying to be a little bit more unpredictable here.
Yeah, here they even almost got Tim's Paranoia out too. So yeah, trying to force Rose to blow all their util a bit too early. And they still creep up, contact up, and get the space without utilizing that util. So saving it off for the post, they can actually use it on the site, can use it on these chokes against the retake. But Evictix haven't fully committed to A just yet. Scotty on the lurk C side. They're trying to draw some numbers, keep numbers over here. But again, this is what Rose like to do as well. It reaches a certain minute mark, and Bob is searching for answers. B pillar, quiet.
Oh no, I don't like the double peek. That scares me so bad. They don't know Corrupt is just hiding on top of box. And that's quite unfortunate,
no.
but I will say, like,
30 seconds.
fair enough trade-off.
Look at Bob, there's 25 seconds left. How many can she find? Shots?
Oh no. Now that's unfortunate. I mean, in reality, what can you do about that? Someone's really just running you down there. And the Paranoia kind of sets back Corrupt. It gave Slam some space. I'm surprised they haven't kept it, but they did put that sound barrier there to make sure that, I mean, there isn't going to be too much happening. Paranoia does come forth trying to fight this off, but Corrupt can't do much because they were stunned on the execution back onto site. This is such a wonderful round from Evictix.
They got like both players, or both teams B-side executions. And I'm wondering if Corrupt's Molly was supposed to land there, or if it was supposed to go a bit deeper to complement that Paranoia and get them out of these chokes. But independent of intentions, the outcome is, again, Really strong framing, very forward framing, I should say, in the post plant there from Evictix. Again, not laid back in crossfires around blue room or main, but again, up in the face of Rose once they had numbers. And that's been their characteristic on the rounds they've won as well, right? You look back to Shaws and shotguns on the choke, you look at proactives, deadlock util, but speaking of proactivity, nothing gets better than A main fights, Gompers, and opening kills as a result.
Yeah, pushing through smoke. Oh my gosh, there's so many this time around. It's so interesting how fast they want this to go, but I do like this. Evictix take on less of a slower approach than Rose have been taking on their defensive side. And I mean, this is the name of the game. Evictix, in reality, they've been having a lot better shots. They've been isolating their fights perfectly and beautifully, so I think this is honestly the best call for their gameplay.
Well, Retro has clutched out before in dramatic fashion. Here would be a huge 1v4. Unfortunately, the shot's just not following suit from the crosshair drawing Neon. That's yet to be nerfed. So 14-13, this OT cycle, Evictix take the kick in the lead in tow. And we thought Rose had the closing mentality after winning the first OT cycle. What do we feel about Evictix odds and outlook now, Gompers?
Man, hard one, to be honest, because I'm gonna jinx it. I will say though, what I will say is that off the pace of play that we've been seeing from Rose on the A site, I'm not excited to see what they have to offer here unless they decide to go a bit faster. So much util to use. You have Bob, you have Raze, you can really shut down Shaws on the execution, which is exactly what's happening here. And it does seem like it's working out for the better, but Evictix already initially slamming the two, and they are finishing it with no rotation off Retro. So Retro completely slowed back into spawn and having to fight this 1v1 against Slammed, but is it gonna work out? Can they keep this in for Rose? Is this the time for Rose to continue the OT? I don't know. It's difficult. A peek comes through, they are able to win the fight. Zobi, I'm not gonna keep them out of the count just yet.
Man, you wish you had an arc, Rose. You wish you had a way to break down these 1v3s, these brewing high lows. And I think now that Evictix have reeled it in, that door is closing.
Oh no, that's unfortunate. One tap swing to end this off, Zobi, with a 15-13. And another win for Evictix to keep their stride against Rose just underway. But I will say, off of what we've seen, do I believe Rose could have won this? Absolutely, I do. They went from 13-4 to 13-7 to an OT game. Right? So in reality, I mean, you can definitely see the improvement there.
Oh, and absolutely. And I do feel like we have this kind of common occurrence where teams don't take city matches seriously, but you can see the drive, the determination to win this. One, because it's a grudge match for Rose, but number two, for both of these teams, they really don't want to go up against the #1 seed from Premier because they have history with that team, right? Rose just losing to that team in MFH, known as Breadbox was their pseudonym they were playing under. And one of the players, Huff, actually on Jackpot, has played with Evictix, right? So you'll have like a man on the other side that knows your every whim, your every thought. And so again, they are playing like this match matters, and I'm not a fan then, right, of the city matches, but it has made this one already an entertaining start. And like I mentioned, Gompers, it's just getting started.
It is just getting started. So guys, do not go anywhere. We have it could be our last match, or we could go to that third map. I don't know, but just stay here, stay tuned, be right back, because we're gonna go to the analyst desk.
Trim. Edge. Shade.
Trim, edge, and shave with Philips Norelco One Blade. One tool for all you need.
Philips Norelco One Blade presents Shave All Things. Your style made simple with Philips Norelco One Blade 360.
Marks, what a nail biter we just watched. I mean, we were watching it. We had no idea whose game that was going to be in the end.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think the caster said it best when they were like, yeah, they're coming into this one. It's a little bit of a grudge match. They've got something to prove. And you could tell both Evictix and Rose were looking so good in their own little small moments. I mean, this was so competitive between these two teams.
Yes, I think at the beginning, like they were leading towards like getting a lot of rounds like towards Evictix, then getting a lot of rounds towards Rose. And then towards the end there, it was just like back and forth. Who's really gonna win these games? And every player played amazingly. We got Bob, T-Dog, Shaw's, Slammed, Retro. Everyone showed up. Who did you love watching the most?
I mean, you just basically highlighted all the good players there, so thanks for stealing that from me.
I stole the thunder.
Hey, it's because it's an excellent point, right? I mean, we were talking about this like a little bit behind the scenes, but both these two teams were coming into this with a little bit of different styles on how they wanted to approach it. Rose kind of coming in, being more of those individual plays, expecting their players to walk out there, find the value, find the space onto the map. Well, Evictix, they were very interested in looking for those first bloods, and then immediately when they would have the opportunity, would try and set up little micro plays with their utility to really help secure the kills and end things in their favor.
Oh, I just was watching that drop smoke play by Slammed. I remember I was watching that. Wow, that drop smoke was just filthy. And then towards these overtime rounds, it was just back and forth, like we were saying, Rose, Evictix. And I think we were seeing kills with every single gun in the game possible, as we can see right here.
Yeah, I mean, all these players were really just kind of min-maxing whatever they could kind of find. And I want to give a big shout out to Tim for even forcing us into that overtime scenario in a very unlikely, I believe, 1v3 result. Yeah, I mean, all of these players had genuinely these crazy pop-off moments. And like, it was interesting that it tended to be a little bit more defensive sided for both Rose and Evictix. And then, of course, in the very first overtime, it was both teams winning their attack side to kind of send us to that double overtime. But a lot to kind of talk about when it comes to a lot of these players and overall team synergies and how they wanted to play.
Yeah, it's so funny how the cookie crumbles. You know, they were all winning on one side and then it kind of flipped towards the end. But I think what made defense so interesting was both teams did such a great job at taking space. Like taking A space, taking that C space, and you just saw a constant brawl.
You really did see it. I mean, it's Lotus. You expect that util brawl outside of C, outside of A. But one of the things on the defense was people just poking out and looking for those first bloods. On the first half, I was watching Evictix and I'm like, we got to pull up the first blood stat because Evictix are like annihilating Rose. But then as soon as Rose steps into that defensive position, then we see Sherrod, who was playing the Raze, which I don't think was the best fit, was still poking out there with the operator, finding Evictix round after round. And then like you can take a look at the first kill stat right there. Very evened out between these two teams.
It's like very close. And Shaw's was, again, so fun to watch, as we were saying in the beginning. And one thing that I did want to say was Retro was having a like insane amount of timing on him.
Yeah, it is really interesting as well being able to see these statistics on these players. Shaw's obviously being the top ACS on the side of Evictix, but then on the flip side, like Rose, straight up in that first half, it was looking like Bob was kind of doing the deadlift to try and keep Rose in this actual game. Of course, I commented a little bit about Sherrod's choice on that raise. It didn't really feel like the best matchup necessarily, but Bob was really trying their damnedest to try and win Rose and bring them across the finish line. And I think the kills kind of reflect that.
Yeah, so we were so close to seeing like Bob. We thought Rose was gonna be the match MVP and Rose was taking it at one point. But in the end, T-Dog was the MVP because T-Dog put in some work. I look at these stats that we have. 1.7 KDA, almost a 2 KDA.
I'm not gonna lie, it's so funny that we don't have a picture for T-Dog because I know we used to have photos for T-Dog, but T-Dog on this deadlock was frying people.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie, I've not been the biggest fan of T-Dog, but this was a spectacular
T-Dog
performance.
catching strays.
Hey, listen, you've seen some of the things, you've seen how T-Dog plays, but I have to admit, like specifically on how this whole thing was going, T-Dog was doing an excellent job, not just finding those kills, but the meshes were so annoying for Rose to try and deal with, whether or not it was on those retakes, whether or not it was icing out some of these lanes. This deadlock got so much value on Lotus.
The util placement was just chef's kiss from T-Dog. And also, I do want to say, I think T-Dog was owning Viper's Pit anytime it was down. Viper's Pit down, if T-Dog's there, you should be shaking in your boots. I did want to say we do have a Phillips Novello head-to-head, sorry, I'm pronouncing this right, Norelco head-to-head, and it is Retro and Shaw's. And like I was saying before, Shaw's is trying to get that space everywhere that Retro is, but immediately is shut down by a Vise wall, and then is just in there by himself, no team. Team is like banging on the wall, please let me in, and it's just a 1v1. Shaw's and Retro have to take every single round. Tell me your thoughts on that.
I mean, one of the things that we showed just at the top of the show was how Shaw's has unbelievable stat lines, right? And sure, this is still pretty impressive from Shaw's, but not nearly the level that we really would have expected this player to be. And like you were saying, Mia, it came down to Retro being very effective on that Vise. The Shears were doing an excellent job at isolating Shaw's and punishing a lot of those neon plays that we kind of expect the aggressive Shaw's to do, where when Shaw's was flying into that C site, you know, chances were it was pretty easy for Rose to find that first blood, and it was so difficult for Evictix to be able to get in, and it was just because Retro was playing that. Obviously, Retro's stats here don't really sell the best point, in my opinion, because it kind of looks like we're doing him a little bit dirty, but I can't understate the value that the Vise util had on splitting up Shaw's and making his life so much more difficult, and by proxy, leaving Evictix kind of confused as to how they were going to enter in on some of these sites, making it so that the Rose defense was looking very strong on Lotus.
I mean, stats, schmats, sometimes like stats like don't even matter for some people, because when you have that delay constantly, it's just more valuable than even a kill could be sometimes. But going into the next map, we actually have Rose's pick, and it's Ascent, which is kind of unknown territory. What does Rose need to do to, you know, bring this battle back, bring it back? Let's see a third map at Haven.
I think they definitely came into Lotus with some novel ideas, right? Like they have an idea on how Evictix want to play, and so then they were trying to counter them, hence the little bit of a swap up between some of their agents. I think for Ascent, I imagine both these teams are going to be leaning more into their own comfortability, because I think that's where, well, you know, this map was kind of out of rotation, so them kind of coming into it makes a little bit more sense. But I imagine, once again, it's going to be a lot more just what you would expect for this map. I'm just curious whether or not we're going to see that neon, and I got to see a little bit more coordination coming out from Rose. I think that if they set up more of those micro plays, they could really out-frag Evictix.
Fury got slammed on that Omen again, and Slammed kind of went crazy with the Odin last game. And Ascent is kind of has Odin written all over it. Are we gonna see an Odin play from Slammed?
I mean, it just feels like it's destined. It's written in the walls. It's going to be legend at this point. Like, this is some sort of fortune teller predicting that coming through. But it's so interesting taking a look at how Evictix are going to be leaning into Dre on that chamber, an agent that Dre has had a lot of experience with. But Scotty going onto the Vise. On the flip side for Rose, we see Retro continuing to be on that Vise while Corrupt is going for the Deadlock. So both of these teams kind of leaning into the double Sentinel composition, just with a little bit different ideas. Dre going for the more frag forward style, while Corrupt, I imagine it will be a little bit more supportive with how that grab net can be placed down.
I mean, it's already so hard to push like on attack on this map. Having 2 Sentinels only furthers that even more. But let's see if this game will be the rise or the fall of the Scarlet Empire. Zobi and Gompers, all to you.
I like that, the rise or the fall. And honestly, that's the genuine question, Zobi, right? Like, we're seeing so many cool things already being brought out from Team Evictix that it does get me a bit worried, right, for Rose, but also some cool things, right? Sharad on the Jet, and then Dre actually taking place on the Chamber.
Yeah, as a Senti main, I'm glad to see the rise of the Senti picks. Even before the Sentis get their teased buff incoming alongside those initiators. All in all, I'm still not convinced of the Rose roles. I do think Sharad's Jet is a lot more comfortable than their Rays, but when you're already running a double Senti, to me, it feels like a waste not to have Sharad on one of the Sentis. And Retro, again, we talked about how their Vice util was on point, but I think the individual performance was lacking, and I know Retro is a super comfortable duelist player. So like, I'm still drawn to like, can we please get that swapped back? But I do think my attention and my eyes definitely are drawn to Dre. Where you look at Dre, we were pointing out how on Lotus, it's like, why is your Fade lurking and playing Contact as the solo player B main, right? Like, it was very awkward role-wise, but I feel like the Chamber fits it so well, right? The Rendezvous back, the typical lurk player. It's so match made in heaven kind of vibes. So all in all, we'll see if it lines up the way we says it stacks up, and we're gonna get that answer pretty quick, Gompers. Hey, under siege.
Oh, actually, but a huge difference in what we're seeing out of the Vise this time around. Seems like Scotty's really applying the pressure, and Shaw's even more so. So I like that, right? Shaw's really stepping up this time around, playing onto the defense round. Of course, this being the pistol, but that's huge for winning this first round, potentially.
You're a big Shaw's believer, and those stonks are on the up and up right now, and so are Evictix ones. Now they're the ones that have gotten a pistol on the board, unlike that unblemished record over on Lotus for Rose. And yeah, I think the fashion in which they just clothesline that A execution on a team that's already running a double Senti, and we already have question marks of how Shroud's performance is going to go, is not a great outlook, considering they're the ones that are 0-1 in the series right now.
0-1, man, Evictix. For them to pull that off is honestly impressive. And I will say Scotty was a huge factor into that and shutting that down. So quite interesting to see. I really do like what we're seeing out of the defense so far, but it does seem like a re-execution back over towards that A site. A difference, though, in the way that Evictix are going to handle it, especially here on the save round for Rose.
I'm getting Ascent trauma already, right? The one way to judge. It's just no changes left, right, and center. And not expecting too much of a change in the acceleration onto the site. Shaw, same pre-position. Here, rifle off the 4K.
Nothing just yet? I don't know. Oh, okay, I was going to say, it might be too far of a distance to be able to secure that, but it doesn't matter. Evictix catching them off on the A site. They've cleared out some space over towards B, but I mean, regardless, right? You're on the save round. Sharad's just trying to find something. It's looking inevitable.
Like, you haven't even gone past the Vice util in the B hall or the B hall space, and I just think the baton relay from Evictix really clean on that A space, and now they've just taken the space in tow. The answer is now to kind of prime the double Senti over towards B, be like, hey, get ready for what's coming. And I think Rose doing damage control, get some orbs, at least have a takeaway from this round. All in all, though, Sniper Rifle says, all right, we're done here.
Okay. You know, based off the... I'm not going to say anything because, you know, Rose had some pretty good pistol rounds, I'd say, on Lotus. We're obviously seeing something quite different here. It does concern me, though, just quite a bit that Shaw's is looking exceptionally good in regards to what the aim is looking like. Very comfortable with the angles as well.
Yeah, again, this is a a map that has been played for a very long time, even if it is coming back into the rotation. So I feel like a team's not going to come unprepared for Ascent, basically. And I do think Evictix, just the confidence in which they're swinging and taking these engagements, does scream like, hey, Rose, we've dominated you before. We're going to try and do it here again. Get that 2-0 out. Start focusing on our match for promotion tomorrow.
Ray has pulled out the op, and Ashley has gotten one too. So Corrupt is down, by the way, guys, if you haven't seen, and then the 1 second that the round has started, and potentially finding another one, but it doesn't matter. All right, 4v4, Rose trying to get some sort of advantage, especially after that unfortunate loss.
Yeah, they're leaning into the retro lurks a lot more often, it feels like, on this map already, and two-side map, you're bound to do that, but that lurk might not be around for too long. 49 HP, can't quite punish Slammed. Now it's just more answers. 2 leaning lobby side. And Rose now with a minute left. I feel like, to me, they're spread a bit thin, right? And I'm not seeing where they're going. And the fact that it's a bonus for Evictix makes me even more concerned.
A bonus and an op and 1 Vandal.
Yeah,
it's given to the 2 best, I'd say, so far, within how they've been performing.
You're gonna have Thorns for delay, Dre. Don't quite see a rendezvous handy, so
30 seconds left.
that is a crazy kill from Slam to have gotten. Now they know he's not gonna be a fake out.
Oh, okay. I sufficient amount of damage though. I mean, despite that, it is gonna reposition. I like this. They're very, very hyper aware of what's going on. Evictix. 14 seconds left for Rose to make this flank come down, but they actually have no idea that a flank from Slammed is coming.
Yeah, and I like that they respect it. Just like that. They're gonna clear out the back lines and then go about their business and retaking the site. Again, it feels like a full buy double Vandal. Operator! And if you're contacting into it, they just went from bad to worse.
Oh my gosh, so risky, but they know op is heaven! They're not watching it! They've given up all control just because the pressure was too much. And Evictix actually winning out on that 3rd round, that's not good, Zobi.
Yeah, and I feel like Slammed has become the most unhinged in terms of the space taking, right? The double engagement on B main to that backstab from A main to cap off the brilliant openers that Dre was able to find at every point in this round. And it leans into what we mentioned from the agents-led get-go golfers, was that this felt like a very eidetic match for the way Evictix was playing Lotus, and I think we're already proving that with that bonus round converted.
I mean, what else can you do, right? Dre's absolutely killing it on the op. Really, you could start taking precautious measures. I don't feel like it's over just yet. We do still have Jet. We have Smokes that could assist with some sort of execution. Obviously, Bob being such a major role in offsetting some of these positions that Dre could be holding. So it really is just getting creative from here on out.
Man, I kind of want to see like a 5-site slam with the Steel Garden just to see what happens. Again, you've got some GC Sheriff aimers here, but that is not one of them. Retro defaulting, lurking a B side here. Gets taken out by the operator, and
oh gosh.
it is going to be the remaining 4 of the squad trying to strong hand their way past the Vice Utility.
Oh, and the drone has made its way out. I like this. They flashed the drone. The drone got no information other than the fact that Scotty was sitting down towards back site, though. Bob, I mean, it gets a fantastic shot. This is beautiful. You're sitting up in heaven. You could try to secure some sort of pick here, as Sherrod has made the mistake before, peeking out and getting aggressive.
Just waiting.
Spike planted.
Shocks for shocks, blow for blow. Both upgrades found in favor of Rose here, and with an operator and a judge, I'm not too sure. And that sureness has just increased.
Oh my gosh, like get him off the op. That's illegal. That actually is insane.
And then diving in with the judge as well there from Slammed. I'm forgetting how easy Ascent can look. But 4-0 here. I think it's funny. It's like you almost wish Rose had triggered the Vice Wall in that main exec, because then they would have been like a shield ahead of the swing off the flash from Scotty instead of them falling victim and getting pieced off a little bit and requiring again that duo of Bob and Sherrod to try and get this round back from the grave. And they did a good job again, those GC Sheriffs singing, but all in all, yeah, that kill right there, crazy.
Man. Precision is key, Zobi, moving forward. I mean, Retro bringing out the op actually to try to apply some more pressure.
Oh, revenge in B main. It's gonna be a nice dish served if it does come out on time. Both there, but with the mid-centric approach, Rose have realized there hasn't been a challenge right from Evictix into mid space, so they're trying to convert something off of it.
And, you know, makes me wonder, maybe a bit too much respect here. I do like that Rose is actually now trying to get a feel for the information that they have been lacking so far.
Okay. Know about slammed here? That feels like even that is a trap. The judge being set up now by the drone. Backpedaling, moving up. Space rebalanced, and there's a crossfire hidden as well in mid-space. So once again, we're down past the minute mark, and there's not a defined path forward, but one has just opened up.
Oh no. But that's good. I mean,
This is where you need that vocal mid-round call though, Gompers, right? I don't like Bob still being over here A side. I was maybe expecting a B split, but okay, if they're gonna just whittle away every A player, that's a nice endpoint.
Yeah, taking out T-Dog. I mean, not T-Dog, my apologies to Ray, which I mean has been such a big problem for Rose. And now they've opened up the A site. They feel quite confident, actually. My biggest worry right now, right, we do have a flash available for Scotty, so there is a lot of potential in regards to getting back onto the site. The problem, though, of course, positioning. Retro does have the op.
Yeah. At this point, I think if you're T-Dog, go get the op back from Dre's corpse. And see if you can hold on to that for the next. Rose finally getting on the board here is huge, and I think Evictix just went looking for answers they didn't need. Oh, they're not even getting the op. They're just playing for damage here to Rose. Doesn't want this to be a flawless. Like the buddy system here, I don't think they're gonna let T-Dog accomplish too much. You can get an op off of Retro too, I guess, technically.
Oh my gosh, the squad is about to just wide swing him. This is so unfortunate. Okay, run away. No, this is good. So there's not much lost in this moment. At least the rifle has been picked up. And economy-wise, I mean, the Evictix have been in a pretty comfortable position.
Yep, they're gonna have it by this round. They'll have again the overdrive and the tour de force if they lose. I would even say the next round, the round after that, because they have that much just pumped in economically to the system. 4-1 here. Still sitting on that Steel Garden for Retro, but again, it was Dre getting first blooded. It was, again, Tim finding that outskirt kill. We just need Evictix to reel it in a little bit beyond the agents that can get away unpunished.
They know, like, the essence of it. I mean, they fought previously down towards B. Actually, interesting to see such discipline come through from Dre now.
I'll make the same mistake twice. Is the idea here. Deadlock lineup coming through. It seemed like a B exec, but yeah, with Dre on this deeply committed line, they know it's a ruse, and we're once again on the slow pace that Rose takes into mid, but this time Slammed isn't playing the passive angle with a judge. Take first contact, and second contact, and third contact, and they're gone. Wait, make it fourth, Gompers. Oh.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, potential more comes through, okay? Spray through the smoke to catch the exit here from Corrupt. I'm not quite sure if they know that Retro is there, but even then with the op, they've made noise, they have the Vandal, and it's not going to do much damage. So even making that trade-off, it's still going to be 5-1, which is insane.
It feels like we're seeing like what every player fears when they face a Neon, just embodied in Shaw. Right? Last round, again, that engagement going Tim's way is what kind of solidified that A rotate, and here it's like both of those players holding down the solo avenues just held their own for Evictix. And again, that is a fragile in a way because Rose has been, I think, mechanically on par with Evictix, at least on Lotus. But here again, it's going to be too flip-floppy, I think, for Rose when you've already had an off start with that 0-4, right? It's rounds like that you can't just flip a coin and see if you win that engagement or not. So I do want to see, I think, a departure from the source material for Rose, because it is the same default, the same look around this retro op round after round. And number one, not really going to be able to afford it anymore. And number two, I do think they could be abusing mid-space a little for. That was Mia Mouse's favorite part of Ascent, and I feel like they aren't really tapping into its full capabilities, because I do feel like there's some rotate timings that they could exploit between Scotty trying to reinforce Dre on main, and you see T-Dog as well trying to get in positions to go for these redarts, these re-drones, and yeah. I think there's something to be discovered there.
Ooh. Honestly, yeah, I completely agree. The name of the game right now, too, if I'm being completely honest, it's quite unfortunate, but they are absolutely owning when it comes to just their own individual mechanics here on Ascent. It feels like the comfort is there. Obviously, like there's quite a difference in what the duelists are looking like and the composition. So not really charging them forward here on the attack.
I mean, 3 players, 7 kills, and we're 6 rounds in, so I would
Yeah, dude, yeah.
agree. Now on the 7th round, Blades you mentioned prior, a nice thing for Sherrod here. They finally want to exploit and trap into tree, but this is the round where there's more presence there for Evictix Gompers.
And they are just running down the ult. Like, there is no care in the world for this team. And it's so interesting to see the amount of confidence that they have after going OT the last game against Rose. They owe them no respects. And even now, right, Scotty, feeling quite good about wide swinging this angle. Having absolutely no utility to show for it. Right there, the aim is perfect. The Phantom is making the shot called. And that's a beautiful shot. So it's going to be that 1v2. The op is going to make it quite difficult to really win this one out. But Dre is better. 70 health left to take this 1v1. And no information on where Retro is. Right now, they need to hit the shot. They know the flash has been there, and the information is given away. So right then and there, it's perfect timing for them to win this. And that they will do.
Just ew. That sums up Dre right now. That is crazy. Right, jumpies for contact while waiting for the rendezvous timer to come back up, and then leverages that and the headhunter to clutch out the round, 70 HP or not. And that's a frustrating round if you're Rose, and that's where that shift that you mentioned for the IGL is going to come in, trying to get your team's mental out of the hole when you're already down a map, when, again, you're down, what is it now, 6-1? Just the way in which you lost after a really cohesive team fight to get Tree, to get A, it's gonna hurt.
Oh, man. In that moment, a 2v1 with someone on the op, like, and a headhunter, I do feel like that is a bit more winnable than the situation has given. But we all make mistakes. I like this. A bit more of an aggressive push up towards mid. And this is quite interesting, though the slow does ruin the pace here.
From the shadows is the big concern. Slam now reinforcing Boathouse. T-Dog as well rotates from spawn to apply additional spray pressure. It's really gonna come down to Sherrod if they open up the site or not. And look at the util.
Dude, they're doing everything in their power to really stop this team. Of course, unfortunately, I mean, Scotty's not hitting the headshots like Dre is, it seems. Gonna have to take a step back from that one, but Rose have dominated. And unless Dre can do the same thing again where, you know, every shot is connecting, it's not looking too bright in the future of EVX in regards to this round.
Yeah, Barrier Mesh just faded as well, so I expect Retro as soon as Dre would make contact to go for the committed flank, but you even got the wall in front of you. Like, I don't see a way for Rose to lose this, but we could have said that about the 1v2 as well. Okay, Tim, thank you. And, I mean, I feel like that was an untraditional barrier drop gap, say that 5 times fast, for Evictix on mid space. Usually they have at least the crossfire from the get-go, and it just modifies as the round continues. But that was just Rose perfectly identifying and charging up there on kind of the half-buy situation, off the Sherrod blades, and again, they support each other to keep them alive, down to that little annihilation from Corrupt. So again, we need to see that team support play in the early round and in the closing round, because that's where it fell apart against Dre in the previous clutch, but where it was intact, the consistency, the full length duration of the last round. So 6-2. Could have that late stage resurgence like we had on Lotus here, Gompers. Or not. I'm getting flashbacks, Gompers, of why I hate Ascent. The Odin op combination is here.
And it sucks because, like, I'm only getting flashbacks because for some reason this is the only map that I get queued deathmatch in. You know what I'm saying? So it really does feel like we're having
a lot of ops and Odins in your deathmatches, Gompers?
Yeah, actually, it's really sad. I don't play it anymore. But it's looking good. I mean, off the rip, EVX able to pull through with so many picks down in mid. They knew that the control was there. I mean, obviously, off the last round, we did see a lot of a big execution come through from Rose. They stole the op, and they were thinking they could do something with it, and it really just didn't come through.
Op skin shopping there as they recover again the ever deadly duo of that Odin and Operator in conjunction. And I think it's more Rose are lucky that they didn't pull this out sooner with their padded economy from the 0-4 start. Because T-Dog, I think, is going to quickly shoot up through the scoreboard with this weapon in tow. I'm not going to lie. And, Rose, going back to what worked, maybe on the Sherrod Blazestorm split round, where they're going fast towards the B side. They're realizing they can disrespect this Vice util, but that's where Evictix have made that change, right? They're the ones that make the change before it's an issue, right? Putting now Dre on a deeper mid line with the Vice back up here, with the Thorns. A nice look. And they're here for the reflood too, B side, if this Steel Garden gets invested.
Oh man, the Odin play from T-Dog. Oh my gosh, okay, no, that's what we needed. We needed them to get that first-hand engagement. So I like this. Confidence there, pace of play change. Of course, Shaw shuts it down. And this is how it's gone over and over again. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a single follow-up coming outside of that smoke, so it makes it hard for Rose.
You mentioned Scotty's been this unsung hero, right? That Arc Rose was perfectly timed to set up that denial of Sherrod on the typical Cloudburst dash towards switch, and that's exactly what causes the cancellation from Rose. And once again, they're at this mark where there's less than a minute left. They don't really have deep roots set anywhere. And I would say it's worse than normal because usually you have someone at least knocking on the tree door, and here it's all on Tim in the same main space, and literally Evictix have just followed them to the A site. So now, honestly, when it's 7-2, this might even be a save call with 30 seconds left.
30 seconds left.
Really just taking advantage right now. Hunter Shuri.
Or not. Wait.
Kind of interesting with the lack of information. Does feel like it was expended not at a great time. So now they're just going to have to blindly walk into sight, use the shock darts to close out the angles. And I mean, Retro's really putting in the work though. So for this 2v2, right, 6 seconds left, they are able to get this. Oh, please, Plant, you're actually scaring me. They are able to get the spike down in enough time. Actually, no. What is going on? The round win for EVX, that should have been theirs for Rose.
One bullet point. That should be enough, yes?
My mind is a question mark, Gompers, and I don't know if I can find the answer. I mean, the Hunter Shuri from Bob, if someone was there, like Tim was entering alongside it, or it was a distraction maybe for Retro's timing would have been there, but then Retro still pops up and opens up the site, and then somehow Shaw's whiffs and they get into sight and could have gone for the plant, but instead of planting Save Janny, they plant layers upon layers of just questions. Like, how does look at that? Retro does all that work and they are planning. I think it was like 3.88 or something. So again, narrowly missing the mark on the round, like you mentioned, and that will give Evictix probably a dominant half here.
Oh my goodness. They are walking into it. I think that's my issue right now, is they're walking straight into everything. There isn't a lot of security, I'd say, with their executions. Like, there's no information being set forth in order for them to get onto the site. So now Rose are playing blindly into the hands of Slammed, and Retro's the one hitting the shots, really trying their absolute best to really keep things open here.
All right. If your Vice can enter, why not? Tim as well from the shadows to capitalize off that space gained. In the meantime, Scotty's re-clearing again the later lurks that have been characteristic of Rose on this attack side. And after all this elbow grease, they still haven't gotten the spike down. Spike is still stuck main, and the Evictix have just been surefire rotated into the A flood.
Oh gosh. Now Corrupt's wall has actually been, broken down, but I like that sound barrier to kind of really play with it. And this is perfect usage, somehow knowing where Tim was gonna go. But all in all, right, it's still keeping it intact. So it's gonna be that 3v4 that's gonna be quite concerning. I mean, 4-player retake, especially with all the ultimates that we're seeing now come through from Rose, though. Doing their best. Actually, Scotty, my apologies, really keeping this one locked down. So the primary's jammed. And EVX just doing everything they can to get back onto site. You cannot do anything when it comes to this team. Diffusal coming down, but it is going to be Dre posted up, making sure it can happen.
Oh, come on, get the ace. No, can't even be granted the silver lining. Denied it at the last moment. Evictix knocking on the door double digits because that was kind of an all-in investment from Rose. So now they have a back-to-back broken economy with light shields, the regen shields. Only thing that could save them would be Retro and this Steel Garden, sitting at 13-8. And again, that round's difficult because they had a really nice post-plan setup after getting the site on their own tempo, but then everyone came on the retake through Heaven instead of Tree, where you had the sensor, where you had, again, the sheer wall. Like, there was so much that just got circumvented. And that's where it's frustrating, and this is even more frustrating. The one wall-bangable location with this Odin that's still intact almost, it feels like, Gompers, and it still delivers the first blood.
T-Dog monitoring. Actually, just off the last second, did manage to catch information up towards B, but Dre doesn't get caught by the pop flash. moves themselves back. So all in all, I mean, good reposition. They still might just be able to get one. Yup, and that they will. Retro goes down. That's unfortunate, though, because Retro's been the opening number, despite Sherrod being the duelist, right? So it's so weird, but unintentional from Rose.
Okay. And Sherrod, Guardian in hand. Got a quiet day when usually the difference maker for the Rose squad. Off a spike and hoping that Corrupt will find an opener. And even if Corrupt gets a kill here, it's still the Vice backside. 35 seconds left, and the wall, the thorns, the arrows. Like, even if they congregate here, I'm not sure they're gonna get in.
Wall tripped. Thorns activated.
Oh man, big indicator.
Okay, netted.
Oh gosh, such a beautiful flash, dude. Scotty's using everything in their arsenal and showcasing how it's done. You know what? And I as a matter of fact, I'm not going to count them out just yet. I do think it is quite difficult for like a single-handed Jet with no blinds whatsoever other than Retro's utility to be able to play against the composition we're seeing right now. To be completely blunt.
I mean, 2 words. Double Senti. There we go. And now they're on the defense. Like, there's your copium, right? For anybody hoping for the turnaround here. And independent of that, it's the fact that, again, this is a seeding match anyways. So, Rose, if they did their homework and improved upon facing Evictix multiple times, I am sure they could do the same against Jackpot again. They just played that team. They have footage of what worked, what didn't against that team. And I think they could push them and maybe have a different outcome to avoid relegation. But, all in all, for the time being, pistol is everything, Gompers.
It really is. And I like the fact that you say that, right? This sets the tempo for Rose right now. We haven't seen their defense. You know, obviously a lot of mistakes being made on the attack, but I think this is a big mental reset.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Nah. Oh, no.
That's unfortunate. That was such a beautiful play to really clear out those corners coming through from T-Dog. And they're so hyper-aware.
Yeah, 3-person assist as well to get the first blood, to get the 1 person is, I think, just speaks volumes to what Evictix has been able to do. Gun upgrade found. Shaw's okay. Dash it into a sensor's not gonna do you too much. Re-clear off the util, and suddenly this looks a bit scrappy from Evictix, not gonna lie.
Yeah. I'm seeing opportunity though. Man, unfortunately enough though, Rose only having 3 players left and Retro actually getting a ton of damage down on them and having to fight this 1v2 over towards the back of site. I do believe though, Tim hitting the shots, slowly making their way forward, and actually not a lot of utility other than the smoke to really isolate some of these corners, but it does seem like teamwork not there. They're fighting it here for T-Dog. And actually not even hitting the shots for Corrupt. They've swapped out the weapon to try to reload on their bullets, but even then it's running low, and they get it! Finally for Rose, putting themselves back on the board.
You saw it, T-Dog. Intrusive thoughts win, the knife attempt comes out, and just like that, Corrupt gets the clutch. The pistol to keep the chances at redemption alive for Rose after a bumpy opening. And I like how you defined it, right? There were so many opportunities this round for Rose, but they were individualistic opportunities. Again, tracking a scrappy Evictix round that still ended up in a post plant with numbers. And Corrupt, though, ultimately in the chip damage along the way, without a clear plan in mind, a roadmap to follow, leads to a lifeline. And no disrespect from Evictix shown, no Stinger Force or anything. It's gonna take the time.
Yeah.
Close out this series the old-fashioned way.
There's a lot of hope here, right? Pushing EVX into a save. And Rose really just needing to find their own paving here. Like, it's felt quite scattered, but now starting to feel a little bit more together. Bob hitting the shots and making sure that they can at least allow themselves pick after pick. And potentially another one as well. Unfortunately, the shots just do not seem to connect this very moment. But all in all, right? Like,
wait a minute.
The persistence we've seen off the last map, Zobi, I really do think it's quite possible for Rose to really make that come up.
Yeah, they just need a resurgence of that back and forth mentality instead of, again, a more one-sided affair. That round was questionable for a second because of the T-Dog shock dart. I got very concerned, I'm not gonna lie, when Slammed found the opener and T-Dog found one as well. But yeah, Bob, whew, that's highlighted her for a reason. Definitely a mainstay right now in the server, trying to pick up the slack. We'll say Retro has quieted off. I think last time we checked in had 12 kills, so it is kind of going to be a joint effort from everybody to step up against Sherrod, Tim, Corrupt. Tim was that player you mentioned as well, trying to close the gap and having the resiliency that got like, what, back-to-back 4Ks towards the end of the map?
Oh yeah, they've been insane. I mean, look at this right now. Like, off the rip, Tim is just consistently putting out these numbers and playing onto the Omen. Quite interestingly, playing with their own smokes too, right? With the one-way over towards A. But seems like Rose looking a bit more comfortable here on the defense and playing into that slower pace of play.
Okay. Looking for an overpeak from Rose now. Timing missed on Sherrod around mid-door, and they have all the answers they kind of need to frame the rest of this round, and kind of can when there's so much sent to util, global sent to util stacked on the A site.
Oh, okay. I thought Shaw's got stuck, but good timing on that. Does back themselves away.
It's crazy. This was a rifle round for Evictix, and they're the ones looking like they're bonusing, not able to find an opening. Looks like they're already committing to a save. A very defensive arc Rose. Would you take a timeout if you're Evictix right now?
I actually would. I do feel like we're kind of reaching a threshold where, like, compared to the momentum that we've seen from EVX and now, and compared to now, obviously there's a lot of mistakes that are being made that need to be fixed up before they do become a little bit too dire.
Well, I would agree with that sentiment, especially when you have 2 to burn.
Yeah.
5 more rounds to go. We don't see 10-2 comebacks too often. Be a fun way to go to Haven, again, a map that has also historically been close between these two teams, again a 13-11, but
yeah.
I don't know, I feel like VCNA just hates fake, like loves fake comeback, hates real ones. We've just been witness to so many of them gompers that it's just like, you don't believe until they happen, right?
Yeah, and honestly, I say this out of love, just like performance-wise for what the attack was looking like, I do want Rose to redeem themselves. Like that.
I do.
It was unacceptable. Like, this is a team that was doing so incredibly well on Lotus. They really need to showcase what they're capable of. And even right now, right, Sherrod going onto that op. Quite interesting.
Yeah, but the wall bangs off the off angle there. Very effective from Slam to really not allow Sherrod to be as proactive as they want to be. Or maybe just a different space?
Yeah. Okay.
They can see that scope even though we can't.
Oh, so slay with the shock darts and where they're being located, but oh man, a back off.
Okay, Judge on the choke as well, so it's like draw them in with the ob, bait them in with the Judge. And I do feel like Rose have been more forward expending with their utility, right? That barrier mesh outside a tree, again, doubled up on the choke, and an operator in the mix as well. It's rewarding them quite well.
They're getting it now. I think confidence is definitely rising, and for this team to you know try to be a little bit more persistent with the mentality and keeping things positive, I think now is the time to really start to implement that, especially with these first couple picks already coming underway. Now Bob, I mean, potentially finding the third beautiful.
And once again, this is going to be like a pseudo timeout moment kind of for Evictix at this point. Just talk it over, spike it in a uncomfortable position. Even if you scooped it up, not going to make it to a second time. So just hoping this box doesn't get wall banged, this corner doesn't get cleared. And that's 4 now needed to tie us up here on Ascent. Up 2. And, whoa. Okay, Scotty. Survives, lives tail to tail. And I do think it's difficult when you're in this position as well for Rose, because it is like one ult cycle and Evictix are one step closer, right? And like there's just enough time that even just by dying that many times, you're gonna get these starting to charge up, right? Again, T-Dog, Hunter's Fury, right? Dre, 2 off from the Tour de Force. And I think those are definitely going to help patch the hole in the economy that's not going to become cyclic. And Evictix, there's that timeout we asked for. 1 round delayed. You know, they're like, okay, let's see if we can just get the round back, get the momentum back without the intervention. But, yeah, back-to-back saves, not great. And Stinger Forces in the works. I'm not a very in-depth Ascent analyst. I'll concede that, Gopper. So let's. What's the plan?
Honestly, man, I don't know. Dre was pretty much like a pretty driving factor on the defense, I'd say. And they had a lot of control. I feel like they're lacking control, which is quite hard on Ascent, since I do feel like this is a pretty defender-sided map, with how closed cornered these sites are. All in all, I do feel like T-Dog has to really step it up and apply that pressure that we're looking for. Because one thing I did like from Bob when they were playing on attack is they were really good at pushing out Evictix out of their corners with their shock darts. I do feel like maybe a bit more of that.
All right. Well.
Oh, wow.
That's not a great opener, not a great correction element, and Sherrod is unscathed. Okay, just getting Shaw's tracks without visibility through the cloud burst. And I was gonna say Rose changed away from having too aggressive of mid holds. Shaw's.
Oh my gosh.
PC check just flicks to the dart, sure.
Oh, this is so winnable for Retro, yeah. Like, it's given 2 on a platter at this point. And Dre,
No
of course, hitting
way!
the shots! Applied pressure, too, when you think about it, though, with T-Dog hand in hand.
And I was just thinking, I'm like, Evictix, I want to see them, instead of doing these mid defaults, maybe go for like an A main slam, like get past the Senti util, because Rose stopped giving them the early mid fights, right? Those are the rounds that were the closest this half, and then suddenly, here you go, silver platter, mid fight, and Dre wins those. And you asked Dre for that continued impact, and he delivered. All right, Tim, we put you on a pedestal similarly, saying that when your team needs it most, you step up as well. Can we see the 3-piece?
We've seen some interesting 3-pieces. I think it's time. I think it's time, and I really do think it's plausible, because if Rose can take out at least... Oh, okay, never mind. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. That's actually my fault, like high key. So, round loss from Rose, but that's genuinely, Zobi, completely okay, because 4 rounds in a row from the comparable, consistent 4 rounds lost is fine.
A 13-2 versus 13-6 definitely would be more respectable. And that's if, again, Evictix have turned the momentum around after their timeout. But I think if that round does anything for Rose, I agree it's okay that they lost it. They need to have solidified or confirmed to themselves that they need to stop peeking and committing so much to the mid space. And that's kind of where they're framed off. Again, T-Dog. Been that player just poking and prodding mid with these early darts that set up the duelists. And I'm glad to see it's just more Bob playing disconnected for the re-clear. Just occupy these chokes and do what you do best, which I do think Rose are really good at just anchoring the space that they're allotted. Look at Corrupt, for example. I'm gonna say Corrupt gets 2. Come on, Corrupt. Don't fail me, please.
Oh my gosh, no, they have the sound barrier there. I don't like this. It's a 1 inch
Corrupt
of noise
gets
and you're
2.
done. Oh, they should
Unless
really
Retro
destroy
steals them
that.
all.
But the timing, the aim, I guess, as well. It all seemingly works out in advance, but Shaw's is better when it comes to just running and gunning. All in all, Tim, of course, I mean, really just applying their best here. Rose, not having too much of a difficult time. I don't even know what to say about that. Unfortunately, Scotty does.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the Tim refight there. 30 HP, you know it's going to be a 1v2 where your player has an operator. And, you also have to worry about where Dre was, right? Because they made that noise in mid-space, so Shroud has so much to clear up, and the silver lining here is a weapon to collect along the way if they opt to switch.
I mean,
Mark off contact. I mean, this feels done.
Oh, yeah, especially now with the slow workup from Dre. I was going to say what really could be... Oh, my gosh! What could be the win condition? But I guess it's Dre whiffing the shot. It gives Sherrod so much opportunity. And now, even in this moment, they don't know Sherrod is there. And Scotty, luckily enough, is going to be able to make do with timing. So just one mistake, and that could have been a round for Rose.
Gobbers, you just put like the Headhunter 2-piece like next to that round. It just sums up Val and Chamber meta so perfectly, I feel like.
Yes.
But it's that moment right there where like if Tim just falls back and survives, like how different it could have been. But now it's Rose, 6 rounds needed to get to overtime. Operator skipped up and collected as well, so Evictix still have that full buy. It's kind of gifted them the success on Ascent. And Evictix asked them a few rounds back for a very directive hit, and looks like they're gonna oblige maybe to try and close up the map. The ults definitely lend to it, right? Overdrive, dive in. If the shock darts from T-Dog had broken the thorns.
Gotta go.
All it is though is the party to set up Dre on the op line. Punish any re-clear potential. They're kind of faking a mid-split, and with the pings coming out, it feels like Rose have bought into it just a touch. Or at least kind of acknowledge the potential.
Go, go, go.
Go spawn to A. No.
So concerning. And I know Rose are feeling the silence, but Evictix are just so good at filling it, right? Like, and look at the amount of positioning that they've able to find from that. So much space taken away. Now it's really impossible for Retro to win this fight with a Neon running at you full speed and 2 players cornering this in. But I like this big rotation from Tim. Unfortunately enough, doesn't work out the way they planned. And now it is going to have to be that 4v2 they fight off with Sarad with the op.
Yeah, it's a few seconds late, right? You can't land on your feet. You can't paranoia out to keep Retro alive. And yeah, a 2v4 that you must opt into, and Evictix are the ones going hunting to finish off this map, this series.
Oh, man. Oh, looking for the ace, actually. No, they've stolen it, but that's okay. 13-6 from Evictix to win this out. A big congratulations. I mean, they've pretty much just kept the morale going and the repetition of going that 2-0 against Rose. But I will be completely honest. First of all, not an easy map to play defense on, as we obviously have seen, and they didn't have a lot of leeway starting off on the attacking side. Oh, my apologies. Attacking. So they didn't have a lot of leeway starting off there. All in all, though, for Team Evictix, like, they played beautifully. Dre, absolutely out of the water with the gameplay, like, always hitting their headshots. I think everyone here, T-Dog stepping it up on the defensive round and the attacking round. So I think it was just a pretty good game, Zobi.
Yeah, for a first time Evictix playing Ascent, I think that needs to become a mainstay in their arsenal. And I will say the team that they're facing tomorrow, which I believe is Tempers, is definitely going to have to be well repped on this for a best of 5 promotion environment. And yeah, I will say again, it's always impressive when a team can consistently find wins, because usually it's the team that lost that has the upper hand. And I think that's where also I maybe would have hoped for a different decision in map pool. Like, I was hoping for Fracture. I was hoping for maps that there were more reps on for Rose, so they could continue that growth they had found up against this team.
Yeah, and growth we did see, even though this map wasn't as we had expected it to be. I will say, comparable to Lotus, which had been in the map pool selection for quite a while, they had obviously a lot more time to strategize. That was beautiful. And I'm looking forward to seeing more from Rose, but I'm also looking forward to see more from Evictix, because obviously big congratulations to them. But all in all, I do want to see what our analyst desk is going to say about this particular game. And I want to see what the interview is going to be looking like as well. So please don't go anywhere, guys. Thank you so much for having us, and we'll see you next time.
Philips Norelco OneBlade presents Shave All Things. Your style made simple with Philips Norelco OneBlade 360.
Trim. Edge. Shave.
Trim, edge, and shave with Philips Norelco OneBlade. One tool for all you need.
Well, Marks, I think we watched the fall of the. Sorry, that joke.
That's what you're opening with.
But actually, not yet, because they will play again tomorrow up against Jackpot, and we will see Evictix play again tomorrow up against Tempers. But seriously, what a great game! It's just so unfortunate to have, you know, attack being so hard on Ascent.
Yeah, I mean, when you take a look at basically this map, it really didn't even feel like we got to see what Evictix's attack really looked like. Sure, you know, we were starting to see Rose really start to come back. They did chain those 4 rounds in a row, but at the same time, like, it was just such a dominant start, 10-2 for Evictix, that it left almost no room to breathe for Rose to really try and claw their way back up in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, we saw 4 rounds, 1 Evictix, 1 round Rose. 4 rounds, 1 Evictix, 1 round on Rose. And when it switched, we almost saw the same thing. We saw Rose win the 4 rounds, and then we saw Evictix win 1. So at that point, again, I thought the game could have went either way, but to have to push into double Senti, Odin and Op on Ascent, count me out, Marks. I want no place in that.
Yeah, well, we were kind of watching it like in the green room. Yeah, you were freaking out, just like, oh my goodness, you're trying to move up, and then immediately, boom, you get shot down by an op. Boom, you're walking into double doors, and oh no, you're being sprayed down by an Odin. And this feels like this is really why we got to see Evictix pick that defense, because it's so difficult for the attackers to do really anything. There was just a mismatch of utility really to try and clear out a lot of those angles, and so you saw pretty frequently for both of these teams on the attack when they were walking in, they were immediately just getting taken out one by one, picked off, just as kind of the barriers dropped.
I know you're talking about Dre did such a great job at holding down that B main with the op. You know, Retro did give a run for their money, but Dre was just having that first blood after first blood. We could see it right here. Evictix with 11 first bloods compared to Rose's 8.
Yeah, and once again, it really comes down to that first blood being so important for both of these teams. Once again, we were watching in the first half of Evictix just annihilating Rose, and we're like, oh man, first bloods. Man, Evictix, they're good for those, and yet still on the defense, we got to see Rose start to pull it back, specifically for their first bloods. They weren't afraid to kind of go a little bit more exploring, send Sherrod out there to try and find that first kill, or Retro started to light things up on his own. So there were those moments of brilliance from Rose, but inevitably, like, just way too much momentum was built for Evictix.
And what we were talking about, Dre, again, and Retro, we were just like mentioning both of them. They were having a face-off in B main, I felt like, half the time. You had both of them with the operators, and it was kind of like whoever got that first blood was who gained the momentum for the round. And unfortunately, for most of the time, it did go towards Dre.
Yeah, it was one of those things where like both these players were just kind of scoped in, waiting
Yes.
around the corner. Peek me, I dare you. And then of course, like it kind of went Dre's way. And honestly, Dre was hard carrying Team Evictix through so many of those rounds. And it wasn't even because Team Evictix needed someone to carry. It was just the fact that every single time Rose were going up against this guy, Dre was somehow landing multiple kills, multiple headshots. And really, Dre was the player who spun things around on Evictix's attack. That one round where it felt like it was destined for Rose to continue their streak of rounds from 4 rounds into 5. Dre single-handedly saved it to make sure that Evictix could close things out in their victory against the team on Ascent.
The more that I'm watching this replay right now, why is Dre just everywhere? On A site, B site, mid, you go anywhere, Dre is there to follow. And it has me thinking, what would it have been the same outcome if Rose started on defense?
Honestly, I don't think that was necessarily the case, right? And this is one of those things where when we take a look at it coming into the series, like the map picks and bans, because it was Rose who did select that map, but then that gave the advantage over to Evictix. And once again, they just looked absolutely dominant on that defense. So Rose really didn't even get to kick the door in because they were just kind of locked out of the map.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking a lot about T-Dog, which we actually have the pleasure of interviewing right now. So let's welcome T-Dog.
Yes.
Hello, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, we were watching you. We were watching, obviously, the whole team, but you own the Viper Pit on Lotus.
Yep.
I loved watching your Odin kills in Tiles. I mean, I would hate to be Rose in that situation, but you did awesome. How do you like having Ascent back in the pool?
It's exciting. I think that it was a little weird with the Odin change and the Initiator change, where you can't do the exact same thing that you've come up with. We haven't practiced it, so I was trying to do the things that I know and just get value out of them, but everybody was shooting today and having fun, so it was a really easy win.
Yeah, you can't just ping something anymore and just start spamming away. Also, B
Exactly.
main. I'm so happy they boarded that up.
Now you can play in that area. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So close game on Lotus. You had me biting my nails the entire time, and also biting my nails almost on Ascent because that second half was getting a little scary in the beginning. Were you nervous at all on Lotus?
No, not at all. All of the rounds that we lost just came down to things that are in our control. So it's something that I'll remind everybody of, where we're not getting outplayed. They're not doing anything good, in my opinion. So we just need to execute on our ideas and play at our pace and do the things that we want to do. And usually when that happens, we can just win rounds.
And you guys had like 3 or 4 timeouts throughout the games. I forget if it was 3 or 4. But what do you guys talk about in those timeouts for the mental reset?
Yeah, our coach D1 just kind of refocuses us on what's going on, making sure that we're playing for the win condition at state. If there's something that we could doing better, he'll mention it. If there's something that they're doing that, you know, we can take advantage of, he'll mention it. But really nothing too crazy today. It was kind of like a momentum based thing. We're just talking at the right times and giving us a chance to, like you said, just reset or just breathe and take it easy.
Okay, and also, so tomorrow you come back, you fight Hampers. What is it looking like going into this game? Same thing as today, or something different?
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna show up and play like it's another day, because it is. It's gonna be a best of 5, which I'm actually really excited for. Obviously, I'm not happy at all being in this tournament, regardless with what it means with how your stage went. But I haven't played in a best 5 in a long time, so I think it'll be fun to actually battle it out and have a nice variety of like maps and not have like a hour and a half match.
Well, you guys did a great job today, and I hope you do an even better job tomorrow, or equal. I do have one last question.
Okay.
Is Shaw's depressed about the neon nerfs?
Shaw's is hurting. Today, he did say something along the lines of, "Man, I missed this," when he was able to get a sliding shotgun kill. So Shaw's is going to have to get back to the drawing board and come up with something to do as a shameless neon abuser.
Okay, the shotgun's caught a stray because of neon, but thank you so much. Good luck in tomorrow's game.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And just like that.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it is really interesting kind of talking about how the team is going to evolve. I think T-Dog, you know, being that player who has kind of gone through the trenches, been in tier 2 for such a long time. Well, they win that one, and exactly like you said, Via, they're going to be going up against Tempers tomorrow to fight for their spot back in stage 3.
Yes, both of these games I think are going to be close, just as today's games I feel like we watched. And the one that is being on the main broadcast is going to be the Jackpot and Rose game? Oh, Jackpot and Rose game. And that, but both of them are going to be streamed, correct, I think.
Yes, that should be correct. And it is really interesting because, you know, both of these ones, I mean, after today, you're like, woo, let's go Evictix, they did it. But at the same time, they still have to win, exactly like T-Dog said, a best of 5 tomorrow to actually get their spot into here. And Jackpot and Tempers being the 2 teams that came into Premier, they're really fighting for their opportunity to get up into the bracket. And we've just seen a crazy run happen from a Premier team known as Division 1 in Stage 2.
Yes.
And so you definitely don't want to count these Premier teams out of it. And once again, they could all surprise us.
Oh yeah. I mean, even today I was surprised with every game. I feel like I'm a little surprised. And I want to see if Evictix is going to take this momentum that they've gained today. And as you could see, T-Dog was saying they were having so much fun just like running around, peeking everyone and shooting them. And he made it sound so simple. I wonder if the same momentum is going to remain true tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, hey, both of these teams, you kind of got to shake off how today went and keep your head focused in, because a best of 5 is a completely different environment from a best of 3. You're going to be playing a lot more maps of Valorant, and you've got a lot more to prove if you want to get your spot in for stage 3.
Yes, 100%. Well, we will, on that note, I think we're done. We'll see everyone tomorrow on the main broadcast. It will be Jackpot up against Rose, but you could also catch Tempers up against Evictix today. And I'm very excited to see how these games will end. So everyone, have an amazing day, and we will see you tomorrow.
And a rare whiff as well from Shaw, so that one-way neutralized. Dre, who would be the difference maker? We mentioned the disrespectful walkdowns. B main, now the team's contained. Rose feel forced to accelerate into the C-stack, accelerate into the stack, and the Odin.
Okay. So through smoke, valid. But the Odin never is not trusted, so it's a very, very good weapon to make some of those calls. But I like this, like, I got taking advantage. Yeah, Slame has it.
Like, wasn't gonna be yours forever, Retro, and all the drop smoke is a classic on Bears, and it is just as lethal this time around. Bob, Tim, lucky to be swimming. Not drowned.
Oh my gosh. Actually aimbotting. Actually aimbotting, that's insane. Always on crosshair. But I like this information given away. They've heard the noise. They're just gonna spray through smoke again. Once Tim makes that repeat. But 5 health left. I mean, it really doesn't matter. Rose is in a very, very bad position for this round.
Yeah, it was last round of the half. They didn't want the confirmation, and Dre has position, so they're contained to C for the time being.
Yeah.
But 20 seconds left, by the way.
Nah, they're gonna push and they're gonna ace.
We're doing it again!
Oh my gosh, can they stop? And I like what Slam does with pushing their smoke a little higher to give themselves more time to seek out the feet.
Too aggressive of mid-holds. Shot. Oh my god. PC check flicks to the dark, sure.
But this is so winnable for Retro, yeah. Like, it's given 2 on a platter